Now, our feature presentation.
And now, being recorded in front of a live studio audience of people saying, no whammies, no whammies, no whammies, stop. It's the most random show on the internet. It's TBK Live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the only show on the internet that if they lip sync for their life, they would fuck it up on RuPaul's Drag Race. Welcome to TBK Live. And joining me today on the other end of the tin can end string is the Ross Matthews to my Michelle Visage. Brody, what's up?
What's up? That's quite an intro you pulled out of your ass there, my friend. I dig it.
I had no idea what I was saying until about, 1.4 seconds ago. So that's how this we got to talk how this episode happened.
Well, there's really not much to talk about. You text me asking me how my daughter was because she had a seizure last week. She's good now. And then I'm like, hey, do you want to record an episode today? Sure, fuck it. Why not?
Yeah, let's do it now.
Baby. Exactly.
18 minutes later, here we are recording TBK Live for all of you. I actually had to get dressed, take a shower, drink some coffee. I wasn't planning on doing shit.
I wasn't either. I literally been laying here all day watching Family Guy with the baby and intermittently playing video games. So I planned on being lazy as fuck today. So this is fun.
I've just started watching the new season of Family Guy, which is on Hulu, which I'm way behind. Like, the season just ended. I went, fuck it, I'll just binge it all at once. I'm not really into it.
It's okay. You know what? It's putting it on in the bed. Like, I like Family Guy. I don't love it like some of the other adult animated shows. I really don't. Like, it's just not as good as some of the other stuff they're doing. But it's, it's good background noise. It's good to put on in the background and kind of ignore while you do other shit. You know what? Every once in a while, you'll turn around and you'll see something that you enjoy. Like, the averages of whatever dictate. Like, if, say there's a 20 episode season, there's got to at least be one or two good episood, right? So you're bound to run into it.
What is your favorite episode of Family Guy? Because I know you've seen them all up until this new season.
It'd probably be, I think, I got two. One of my favorite episodes is the Jewish episode where Peter hires the accountant.
Is that the Christmas one that they wouldn't air?
Exactly, yeah. Where he hires the Jewish accountant to help tutor Chris do math.
Yeah, Fox was like, nope.
Just because it was so absurd, and you're watching it, and it's like, it's not any hate speech, and it's not like offensive on a surface level, but
deep down, it's offensive.
Yeah. It's like they don't say anything outright offensive, but a lot of the thematics of the show are like, ooh, man. Like this, if this were the South Park guys, it would have been fine. But if it's Family Guy, so of course they got raked through the coals.
And it's on Fox. Fuck.
And I think my favorite episode is the movie that they like, but they hybridized. No. Let me take that back. The Star Wars Family Guys. Those are my favorite.
The first two were so good. The third one kind of lacked.
The third one was not as funny as the first two by any stretch of the imagination. And
I don't think the second one was as fun as the first one.
No, the first one was fun because the novelty of it and the jokes were funny. But then by the second and third one, they just started to get lazier and lazier until it was just like, animated Star Wars, basically. It was fun. It's fun to watch the three of them back to back, but I'll never watch the two or three independent of the first one. But I do like watching all three of them.
So here's one. I'll throw this. It's from season, I believe, 3. Do you remember the episode where Chris stops someone from stops the robbery happening, and they get in witness protection and they send him to the deep south?
Oh yes, I remember that episode. I love that one.
It's called The Live and Die in Dixie. It is one of my favorite all-time episodes.
And then Peter and Brian are the sheriffs, and they're drunk, and then he falls in love with the boy, but it ends up being a girl. Oh my god, that's such a great episode.
Chris falls in love with the boy. He thinks it's a boy the whole time, and then it turns out it's a girl. And Then he goes back to pretending it's a boy because that helped out. Like, it's a weird episode, but it is so
It was
funny.
so funny. You see, Family Guy was Family Guy is entertaining on some level nowadays, but it was so much better in the first like 4 seasons.
Well, it was better until they canceled it. Like, that first cancellation of Family Guy is just when it hit the fucking fan. Like, after that, no.
And they came back, it was never the same. And then the last like 3 or 5 seasons have been like overly reliant on the cutaway gag. Like, that's not something that they did all the time in the earlier seasons. They did do it, and it was funny. And the obscure references and pop culture jokes they were making,
I love those.
were like, they were great. But now they're borderline on like, not offensive, but they're just like
lazy?
Pretentious, I guess you could say. Like, some of the references they make these days in some of these newer episodes is just like, okay, it's not even funny anymore.
I do have one of the newer episodes I do really enjoy. I don't know how new it is now, but the one where Peter and Quagmire start a singing group. And
I don't know if I've
and they sing that stupid, have you ever put butter on a Pop-Tart? It's so
freaking
freaking
I love
good.
that song.
Have you ever put butter on a Pop-Tart?
Pop-Tart? It's so friggin' I had that as my ringtone for the longest time.
I did too. That was that episode is fan-fucking-tastic. If you've not
It's
seen
such
that
a great episode. And that song is so, like, I wish someone would just, like, record, like, a full-on version of that song because it's so fucking catchy.
Next thing you know, next music video. And now, ladies and gentlemen, Ed Sheeran and Justin Bieber. Have you ever put butter on a Pop-Tart? It's so freaking good. I'm okay with that.
I want to hear, like, a full-on, like, Weezer-fied version of that song. Because they've proven that anyone on the internet can get them to record anything that they want.
You just ask them hard enough. Yeah,
if you pester them hard enough.
Can I get Panic at the Disco to do it? I'm really in love with Brendan Urie right now.
Dude, let's get Rivers Cuomo and Brendan Urie to do butter on the Pop-Tart.
I'm in. I'm loving me some Panic at the Disco. I don't know what is going on with me lately in my music taste, but all of a sudden it's like, here's everything you've never listened to. All of a sudden, like, you've never listened to at great length, but here you are now listening to all of it. All of it. Go ahead.
I'm kind of, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm kind of in this weird musical place too. Like, my whole life, I like the music that I like, and I really honestly don't stray too far outside of the stuff that I listen to. Like, unless like perfect example, I was watching back when I binged through all 6 seasons of Letterkenny in like a week. There's a lot of good music on that shit. Okay, fine. 2 days. But there's like a lot of good music on that show, and in fact, one of the catchy songs I've heard in a long time comes at the very end of the very first episode.
Oh God, yes.
When he goes to knock out his ex-girlfriend's boyfriend, and that fucking kind of White Stripes sounding-esque rock song starts. I'm like, God damn, that's catchy. So I Googled it, and they're a pretty good band. So, like, discovering music that way. But lately, it's just been kind of listening to the stuff that I like over and over again. Although, because Riot Fest is coming up, I created a Riot Fest playlist on Apple Music. Where I took 3 songs from each band on the bill, and if you see the bill, it's massive. I took 3 songs, and I didn't know a lot of the bands, so if I didn't know a band, I took 3 songs from, like, how sometimes they have like the top 3 hits or whatever.
Right.
I just picked the first 3 and I put it in a playlist. But if I knew the band that was playing, I picked like my 3 favorite songs. So I did that, and I did this playlist. And typically, I don't like listening to music I don't know, but like, sometimes I'll hit random on that, and there's been a lot of good music that I've never heard before. Like, honestly, as much as I hate to admit it out loud, I've never actually listened to a Gwar song all the way through until I made this playlist.
I don't know if that's like something like I don't know if anyone's actually listened to a Gwar song.
Like, I feel like Gwar is one of those bands that everyone knows and everyone says they love, but no one's actually ever listened to their music. Do you want
to know how I got introduced to Gwar?
How's that?
I was probably 11.
Mm-hmm.
And I am sitting down, and the greatest thing ever was to come home from school and watch reruns or episodes of the Jerry Springer Show.
Oh, and Gwar was on one of those
Gwar
episodes,
was
right?
on it, and Jerry's like, and this is a band, Gwar, and they do all this obscene, crazy shit. And it's like, wait, what? Why am I being told about this band that throws blood on the audience, which is I think what they used to do. Like crazy shit, man.
Did I do that?
Apparently, we just lost. Wow, this episode is just chock full of errors today, kids.
I don't know what's going on. Is it recording right now?
Yeah, it's recording. We're back. We're back,
Okay.
everybody. We're back.
Okay.
So
I don't know what. I mean, I'm just standing in my living room.
You want to
right
know what
now.
happens? You start talking about Gwar, you can't even finish a thought about Gwar because no one's heard anything about Gwar.
Modern technology just can't handle how awesome Guar is, so it just shuts down.
Oh my god! Before we get going any more into this episode, let's talk about the month of June, all month long, and after this month too, because those shirts are going to stay up forever. Go to Shop TBK, pick up one of our awesome Pride T-shirts. All the money goes to charity. One to the Trevor Project. The other half goes to the Pride Pile Driver Project. Two amazing charities. Pick up your awesome TBK Pride shirts. All right, that's done.
Now, I do have one question.
Yes.
Can you give us any more information as to what your big surprise for next month is?
Oh, the
Like
July
any little
2019 video? Oh
Huh?
my god. Okay, so I've got email after email because one, I placed this on the web. Okay, so I placed it everywhere. I placed it on Twitter. I placed it on Facebook. I placed it on Insta. I placed this video everywhere. And so I get a phone call from one of the other podcasters and staff members and going, "Hey, what's going on in July?" And I said, "I don't know."
I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen, but it's gonna happen.
Because and they're like, "How do you not know? You run the site, you put up the ad." And I was like, "Seriously, I don't fucking know. I just did it just to see what would happen." No, there is stuff going to happen in July, and we're going to talk a little bit about that today.
Okay.
Just a little, just a teeny weeny bit.
Let's talk about that.
We're going to talk about it as big as my penis, which is like an inch and a half. That's how far I'm hung like a field mouse. Now, that also depends on if that's good or not, if you compare it to either humans or field mice.
Welcome to TBK Live, the only show on the internet where you can compare dick sizes to a field mouse.
Well, it's not being compared to a field. I mean, yeah, no, you're right. So we have nothing. What have you binged this week?
You know what? I finally sat down to watch something that I've been like threatening to watch, and I've always put it off. Huh?
Is it one of the shows I have told you to watch?
You might have recommended it to me at some point. I'm not sure, but
if it's a comedy, sure. If it's not, probably no. No,
it's not a comedy.
Then I probably didn't.
I've been sitting here like I keep wanting to watch it, but something always comes up, and every time I actually finally sit down to watch it, I get like 2 episodes in, and then I bitch out because it's like this is just not holding my attention. But I finally sat down yesterday, and I said to myself, I'm like, all right. I got a new promotion at work, so I got this new altered schedule where I have Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday off, so I got all this time to kind of catch up on binging shit. So now I'm going to sit here and I'm going to start something I've been saying I'm going to watch for years, and that, of course, is Breaking Bad. Yeah. So I sat down and I put it on, and I watched through the whole first season, and it was good, but it was really hard for me to stay interested in it for some reason. Like, I'm watching it, and like there's bits that I like, and there's bits that I don't like. Like Bryan Cranston is obviously electrifying as Walter White. I'm not a big Aaron Paul fan. Like he's not a bad actor, but he's just not he's not the kind of actor I like to watch.
What else has he even done?
And that's the other thing too. Like I IMDb'd his stuff, and he's been in a couple horror movies. Like he was in the remake of The Last House on the Left.
That wasn't that good.
He was in the big screen adaptation of the video game Need for Speed.
That wasn't that good.
There's a couple other things that he hasn't really been in.
He's a voice on BoJack Horseman.
He does, but I think Breaking Bad came before BoJack.
Oh no, it did.
So
it did.
So BoJack was kind of. Or not BoJack. Breaking Bad was kind of his big like break into the mainstream, and good for him. Like I'm not trying to sit here and critique what he does. Like if he's happy and he's enjoying what he's doing, God bless him. He's not someone I particularly enjoy.
He was in Tron Uprising. He was a voice on that.
On what?
Tron Uprising.
Oh, is that a show?
Yeah, it was
Is
a
that
I
was
think
that
it
the
was.
Disney show?
Yeah, I think it was the animated series that Disney did. Yeah. Yep,
Gotcha.
it was the Disney XD series. Yeah.
So some of the choices he was making as the character in the show, yeah, exactly, baby. That he was making as. Oh, by the way, in case you listeners didn't know, we have a third host joining us today, fresh off her stint from the ICU, little Brody Jr.
Oh my God. Is she gonna go on a rant about what's she gonna rant about? Baby formula?
She's gonna rant about how she pooped herself and I haven't changed her diaper yet.
Sounds about right. Continue on.
So Aaron Paul is just like what he was doing on the show was taking me out of it. I don't like his wife at all. She's so flip-floppy. She goes like one episode she's like hates or not hates him, but she's like very dismissive of him and what he's doing, and then the next episode she's like overly protective. Like her character feels to me like she's all over the map, and I just didn't enjoy watching her character. His son, I like.
Great.
I like his son. I don't have any beefs with him. My favorite character on the show so far is Hank.
Oh, Hank's okay. I mean, I like the
Hank.
show. I just, how do I explain Breaking Bad?
But here's the thing, though. I got to preface this not just for you, but for the listeners as well. I only made it through the first season. I am going to finish the other 4. Like, I'm not going to give up on it. I am determined to see it through.
But you're going to take a break after each season, aren't you?
Yeah. Like, normally when I binge and I see something that I want to watch and I binge, I go through all this. Like, Letterkenny, I did all the seasons in, like, a week or whatever. But with something that is, like Breaking Bad, like, I've dedicated myself to finishing it. It's just, I think I'm going to take a little time. And you know what? To be honest with you, Stranger Things comes out in a couple weeks, so like that's gonna kind of knock me off the Breaking Bad block for a little bit. There's some other shit.
I wish I could get into the Stranger Things thing. I just can't.
Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say the AMC thing. My issue with the AMC shows are like this also goes with The Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
I can't get into them. I don't know what it is about the way AMC shoots or whatever it is. I just have not been able to get into an AMC series at all, with the exception of Comic Book Men, but that shouldn't count.
But you're right, because they use there's something that they do, some kind of camera crew that they use. They must have an in-house system. All their shows have the same kind of weird grainy filter on them. And with The Walking Dead especially, it gets really fucking bad in later seasons, although this last season that came out of The Walking Dead is actually very much an improvement. Like, I can see the show getting better from here on out. But it's just all these scripted AMC shows kind of have that grainy, almost grindhousey look to them. Like there are several episodes of The Walking Dead that look just like something, say, Rob Zombie would have filmed.
Right. I agree. So, does anyone know what the AMC originally stood for? Do you know?
Isn't it American Movie Classics?
It is. It was owned by the Turner Corporation. And I'm still thinking, why don't they show old movies still? Because they don't. Right now, you can turn on AMC and find old episodes of The Walking Dead, Breaking Bad.
Because that's really their like marquee draw right now. That's really what they got going for them.
And whatever show Chris Hardwick's hosting this week. So yeah. I mean,
whatever, he might as well just be running the network at this point.
I know the Talking Dead got canceled. That just
did it get canceled?
Yeah, it just happened. So
really,
and then that whole thing with him like 2 years ago, and like damn it,
has he ever really I know he's still doing stuff, but he's not nearly, I feel like, as
prominent. No, he left
prominent
Nerd.
or popular.
So even before that came out, he left Nerdist, and I think that kind of changed everything for him.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know he started Nerdist, and then he just was like, I'm out. Because then he started doing his own podcast, and I don't even know if he's doing that anymore. Like I know that came to a stop. So
I used to listen to his podcast on the Nerdist channel a lot because he always had like really interesting celebrity guests. And in fact, it was on the Nerdist podcast where he was interviewing Gillian Anderson that it broke that the X-Files was finally coming back when they did the first reunion season. So like I used to like listening to his shows, but then it just got kind of like he just started having a bunch of guests on that I wasn't really interested in, and he was like pumping, like even the scandal notwithstanding, I feel like at one point he was doing too much. Like it was overexposure at some point.
And then the scandal broke, and then everything just came crashing all of a sudden. I still don't know how I know that there's been a lot come out, and I don't want to get into that because that's way too deep even for me. Like, I still don't understand what happened. I know he's a piece of shit. Like, if we're going to go on that, we know that.
Well, but didn't he get vindicated? Like, didn't it end up being like she's the piece of shit who was just lying about everything?
But
like,
see, that could go two different ways. That's the horrible thing of the internet. Because, like, there's a story out, and then you find out, oh, like, okay, I don't know how many people came out on him. Like, there's someone today that, like, 8 women came out against, like, said this dude's a piece of shit. I'm going to believe the 8 women that this dude's a piece of shit. Like,
oh, absolutely. Like, I 100%, like, I'm, you know, I remember when I first heard about that, and I'm like, God damn. Like, I never liked Chris Hardwick because he, like, I was so jealous of his lifestyle because, like, he was, like, the king nerd. He did all the cool nerdy shit that I wanted to do.
Yeah, because they dropped him from Comic-Con that year, too, and it was just like, oh, fuck.
And it just, I remember thinking, like, you know, I'm like, you know what? Because he always seemed like this really squeaky clean dude that everybody liked. And then when it came out that he kind of maybe wasn't this, like, you know, it was just like kind of a facade. I was like, you know what? It sucks that he did that to those women. It really does. But I'm kind of glad that he got his just desserts because, you know, one, no one should have to go through what he put that poor woman through.
Chloe Dykstra, and I know the story, but I got introduced to her through a video, and I'm like, oh, she's really cool. I had no idea I had no idea that she was dating Chris Hardwick at all. Yeah.
But then after all that came out, then stuff started coming out about how she's not exactly squeaky clean either, and she might have been misrepresented. Like, it just turned into this whole he said, she said, back and forth. I just removed myself from the situation. I'm like, you know what? No one should be abused in any way, man or woman.
It becomes
Chris Hardwick.
Doesn't it come? Yeah, no. Doesn't it come to the point of, well, now becomes a thing in the court of public opinion? Like, right. No matter what happens, it's going to be up to you, the person, to decide. Hey, is this person good or bad? I mean, Hardwick is a former alcoholic. I mean, that's been talked about. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know anymore. Like, I'm just like, bleh.
Anyway, so let's move on to something more lighthearted. What have you been binging lately?
Well, it's not lighthearted. We're just going to tell you that. I'm actually doing some research for an article coming up.
Uh-huh.
And I watched 2 documentaries over the last 2 days.
Ooh, what'd you watch?
Number one, I watched one on YouTube. And I don't remember the exact title, but it's about the Stonewall riots. And we talked about that a little bit last week. So this is actually a question that you guys submitted. Why are we doing Pride stuff? And I don't know if I can answer that. Because I don't want to go into great detail as to why. I'm an advocate for the LGBTQ community, other than fucking hell, you should be able to be yourself. Done.
Well, to answer that question, if I may, why are we doing Pride stuff? Because we're prideful of who we are and what we do. And everyone on staff at this magazine, whether it's you or me or Mad Manda or Sharon or anybody you have on staff here that works, we're all...
You can send all your hate mail to Sharon at TBK Magazine.
We're all different people. We all have different things. We all come from different backgrounds, and we're all prideful about who we are. So Pride Month isn't necessarily just about, I mean, yes, it mainly represents the LGBTQ community, but it's also about just having pride in yourself. It doesn't matter if you're gay or lesbian or straight, trans, bi, whatever. Just be prideful of who you are and what you do and what you bring to the world. And that's why we're covering it, because we are a magazine that is prideful about every one of the people that not only works at this magazine, but that listens to our shows or goes to the websites.
So I want to actually touch on something. I forgot where I was going with this. Well, balls. My mind just went, hey, you have a phone call. Oh, well, fuck. Oh, and then AT&T's like, it's a spam call. And then it just like, how do I hang up on this? Fuck. I got a new phone. I don't remember how to work it. And where was I? Pride. Why are we doing this documentary? Okay. All right. So I have seen something online and an argument waged online because I'm very pissed off about this statement.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I can't believe another deep episode alive, everybody. Hey. This is what
We
happens.
promise we'll get back to the goofy soon.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's going to happen. It'll probably happen in this conversation. But I want to actually ask you a question. Okay, you went to an all boys school, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
I can't ask this question to you. I mean,
What do you mean?
Okay, so when I was in school, if you were to hold hands with a girl while in school, certain teachers absolutely would jump your ass.
Well, we did in my school, without mentioning names. We were an all boys Catholic high school, but we had like adjacent to us, literally, like you could throw a stone and hit the building, an all girls Catholic school.
Oh, okay.
So like we had a lot of like, even though like we didn't have any classes during the day, like actual classes with girls in them, there were a lot of the students from the other school roaming our halls because we had a lot of joint programs.
Okay, that makes
and
more
like
sense.
joint extracurriculars. So like that question I could still answer because
Okay, cool.
there would still be a lot of boys that would be dating the girls.
Well, I
and
don't know
they'd
how all boys schools work. I didn't go to one.
No, I was just saying. So like, especially, if like they were dating girls from the school next door, a lot of times, and especially some of the friends that I had in high school, they would do a lot of the extracurriculars together. And like we had a bigger, they had a bigger swimming pool than us. So like a lot of our swim team stuff happened over there. We had a bigger like auditorium. So like a lot of the theater stuff happened in our, so it was just kind of like a mix and match type thing. But yeah, there were a lot of like times where you would see dudes walking down the halls with their girlfriends. Yeah, exactly. I know. There'd be a lot of times where dudes would be walking down the corridors with their girlfriends or whatever, and they'd be holding hands, or they'd be like, kind of hugging each other. And we had a lot of our teachers / administrators, if you will, were very like, strict Catholics. Some of them were, brothers and, priests and stuff. So
right.
like it was very, very frowned upon in the halls of our school.
Before we go any further, did you ever get slapped by a ruler? Or is that a stereotype?
No, that like my parents used to tell me all the time about how they got slapped with rulers and shit when they were in school. But
that's not a stereotype?
Huh?
I really thought that was just a joke in movies.
No. That is a thing like that has happened. I mean, I don't think it's happened recently, because corporal punishment is kind of not a thing anymore. But
it is, but not in school. And if it is, it's also in a room that's red.
Right.
Yeah. And you're both adults, and you both consent. Continue. Sex jokes.
And also, there's that goofiness we were talking
Bondage.
But yeah, I mean, and like my mom said that happened a lot at her school, but she went to an all-girls Catholic school that was run by nuns. So take that for what you will.
Okay, so if you were walking down the hall with a girl holding their hand, you would get your ass jumped, probably.
I mean, you get your ass chewed out for it. Like there have been a couple dudes that have gotten detentions for it, actually.
So I want you to take that thought of. So this is where I'm going with this. I want you to take that thought of getting your ass chewed for just holding your girlfriend's hand and turn that up by 1 billion.
Okay.
So
did you get your dick cut off for holding your girlfriend's hand?
No. Just think about not being able to show any affection at all for someone you love.
Okay.
So last night I'm watching this documentary, and I had no idea that. So this will tell you things. Like, I'm learning. That's going to be the part of the process. It's fun to learn.
Yes.
The only way you grow is if you learn.
Because knowledge is power.
And now cue the more you know graphic. Good night, everybody. So I was sitting there and I'm watching this documentary, and I had no idea that homosexuality was. I knew it was illegal, but I didn't know it was illegal until 1970.
Illegal up until 1970?
Only one state it was legal in.
What state?
Illinois.
Whoop, whoop! Illinois, represent!
Illinois was the first state that said it was okay. I was just kind of like, whoa.
We may have the highest tax rates in the land, but we sure as shit were the first ones to approve gay marriage. You're welcome, America!
There you go. So I'm watching this documentary, right? And I have nothing. I know nothing about the riots. So you couldn't be like cops would beat you if you would just beat you if you were gay. If you were a dude in drag, you would be arrested for wearing the opposite gender's the wrong genders of clothing.
I'm curious as to hear, and I'm assuming they went over this in the documentary you watched. I'd be curious to hear is the law they were citing to be able to arrest somebody for wearing women's clothes. Like
sodomy.
What was the actual
sodomy?
But sodomy.
Yeah, no, it's a fucked up time. So anytime that like they would raid, like if there was a party going on and there was more than one person who was gay, they could raid it and say sodomy. So cue the Stonewall Inn, which was this gay club, which was owned by, are you ready for this? I had no idea on the mob.
The mob. The most notoriously, like,
yeah.
The mob, like the Italian mafia?
Just the mob. I don't know if it was like which mob it was, but it was a mob. Okay. So what they did is they would pay off the cops to allow this bar to exist the way it was. However, the cops would occasionally go in and raid it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they saw two guys dancing together, they could say sodomy and arrest everybody.
God damn, what a fucked up time that must have been.
Yeah, no, thinking about this, knowing what life is now, and I know we're still not 100% in the greatest era. But
but you got like network TV shows that'll simulate two dudes having sex on a national channel.
Like thinking about how far we've come is ridiculous. Like I remember studying the civil rights movement and going, oh, this is fucked up, and this is still new, and going, oh my God, I did not realize this with the LGBTQ movement either. Like I know this is not something you get taught. This is something you have to find out on your own, and I'm like doing finger dancing right now while I'm talking about this. I don't know what the fuck's up with me.
It's crazy. Like even like you said, even though things are as tenuous as they are lately,
this is only 50 years ago. I mean, fuck.
It's crazy. Like people are like, oh, times have never been worse, and like, no, they have been. They've been much worse. We actually have it pretty good. Like things aren't great right now. But they're better than they ever have been in some respects.
So here's what happened. So at the Stonewall Inn one night on actually June 28th, the cops raided. They were putting one of the drag queens into the wagon. And the drag queen just slipped apparently and healed the cop right in the shoulder.
Ooh. Oh, God, I think I know where this is going.
And the cop decided, you could hear from what someone that was there recounted. You could hear bone against metal. And it just was the right place at the right time. And then it happened. And
what happened?
The riot. Like they barricaded the cops inside the Stonewall Inn and set the fucking place on fire.
Wait a minute. Hold on, back up.
Yeah, no. This is so the cops raided it.
The cops set the place on fire?
No. So the cops raided it. They're starting to load drag queens in the wagons because that's the first they arrest is the drag queens and transvestites. That's the terminology that was being used. And when the heel hit, the cop goes crazy, and all of a sudden everyone just band together that was at the club.
God damn.
And it started becoming like there was more people starting to show up and just more people showing up and more people showing up. And they eventually barricaded the 4 officers who raided it inside the hotel, inside the Stonewall Inn.
And lit it on fire?
And then they lit the Stonewall Inn on fire. The cops got out.
I was about to say, like, I'm all for, like, damn the man, save the empire. But
yeah, no, the cops got out. But the next day, like within the next few days, they took to the streets and the first march happened, which was the first Pride Parade. So a year later, now this is kind of where I'm at. So I learned all of this. I had no idea this happened. Like I know of it, I know how it happened, but now I know the story. And just thinking that's 50 years ago, my mind is fucking blown. Okay, now fast forward. So I decided to watch another documentary last night.
Which one?
It is the death and life of Marsha P. Johnson. So Marsha P. Johnson is an activist during the riots. She is openly, I want to say gender fluid is probably the best explanation, because at times that she can wear men's, like she was in men's clothes, she was in women's clothes. She was whoever she wanted to be on that day.
Right.
So
all right, relax.
The kid gets it. Is the kid holding up a resist fist at the same time? Because if
she is balling her fist right now. Like, I'm not even kidding.
Damn,
I wish you could see this.
So Marsha P. Johnson was the first. Her and Sylvia Riviera were the first two to actually argue for trans rights in 1970. So this fell on deaf ears. Like, this. Like, at that time nobody no. So after then the death of Marsha P. Johnson, like, she fell into the Hudson. The cops say it's suicide. Everyone believes it's murder. There's a big, it's a whole thing. The documentary is fantastically done. Like, I think it's a great documentary. I think they could have ended it better. Like, I want more, but I think that's kind of what it was. Like, hey, look, we know this will probably be good. We could probably get a second one out of it.
That's the thing about documentaries. Like, people, like,
especially
you want
true
more
crime
information ones. And you want to know more, but sometimes there just isn't.
And it follows both of them. So Marsha died in 1992. Sylvia died in 2002. Sylvia was homeless, and they actually show her struggle being homeless. And all of a sudden, she becomes this. I want to say, you know what the best word to say here is? She becomes a queen, because in this moment, they start doing World Pride, and she's being invited to Italy and France and all these places all over the world to spread the messages she started in the 70s. And I'm thinking, it's such a fantastic documentary where I went, how the fuck I'm still baffled that, like, just 50 years ago we were this sheltered. Like, people sucked that bad. Like, holy shit.
That's like the episode of Parks and Rec where Leslie Knope becomes an accidental queen or whatever.
Yes.
It sounds like a good documentary. Where'd you watch that?
Netflix.
On YouTube?
Netflix.
Oh, Netflix.
The Stonewall documentary is on on YouTube, and it's only the Stonewall one's only like 24 minutes long.
But the other one's like a full feature documentary.
It's an hour and 45 minutes.
Nice.
The Stonewall documentary, I wanted more. Like, I just wanted more.
I'm sure I bet you there's.
Oh, there's a lot of documentaries out there, but there's some that people tell me that, like, if you look up Stonewall documentaries, they'll be like, you shouldn't watch this one, and you should watch this one, and you shouldn't. So,
I mean, I feel like that's like I don't want to say good story, but it's like a good piece of history to be apprised of, considering the tumultuous time we're going through now. So I feel like that'd be right for like a major documentary. I'm sure we're gonna, especially with like the rise in popularity lately of documentaries, not just true crime. Because like,
just
I know
in general, documentaries are firing on all cylinders right now. Because honestly, to me, that's probably my second favorite genre of movies.
It was never my favorite, just because when I go see it, like, when I go see a movie, I want to see like an actual fictional movie. But lately, like, some of the best films I've ever seen are documentaries.
I am working on an article, one about Stonewall and two about Marsha and Sylvia, because I thought, if I'm going to do this, I need to research and do this right. I don't want to just blindly walk into an article and just kind of spout off stupidity. Because
right on. Well, it sounds like the research was fun to do. Like, see what happened, but you know what I mean.
No, I get where you're coming from. I never read articles and stuff. I recommend both documentaries. I also recommend anything you can on finding out how this all happened, because after reading or seeing the Stonewall documentary, it hits me. Because we made fun of the Straight Pride Parade shit a couple of weeks, 2 episodes ago?
Yes.
Yeah. Fuck those fucks. So
fuck those motherfuckers.
So that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I just learned, and after the interview with Billy Dixon, I'm like, I need to learn more about this. So
nice.
All right, that's what I'm watching. Oh, and I'm binging. Okay, so BuzzFeed's videos.
Yes, BuzzFeed, the bane of
Yeah.
internet journalism.
Yeah, well, I'm watching their Worth It series of food, though,
Uh-huh.
where they eat like something that's super cheap, something that's in the middle, and something really extravagant. Those are fun. Those are fun.
It sounds like another internet YouTube-based show that we both watch that it does that kind of thing and probably does it a little bit better.
I don't
talk about it.
I actually I don't know if they do it better. I think they do it just equally good. It's the only thing on BuzzFeed I actually go out of my way to see.
I don't know, man.
Fucking BuzzFeed.
I used to. I don't really have any opinions anymore on it, but I used to fucking hate BuzzFeed because it's just it's just list articles, man. It's like lately I know they've been doing other stuff, and that's their whole shtick is clickbait.
So that brings us to
all it is.
Hey, you know what? I need to play the open for mailbag since I didn't do that already. Let me cue that up because one of the questions I got is how do you feel about clickbait? All right, so I just forgot what show the mail time song was from. No one say a word.
Mail time.
Mail time. Mail time.
The mail's here. Come on.
I'm going to sing it.
Here's the mail, it never fails. It makes me want to wag my tail.
I should have been Steve in the new series. Okay. There we go.
Whew.
By the way, the new All That, really good. I just want to point that out. Yeah, I watched it. It's on YouTube. Nickelodeon uploaded the first episode to fucking YouTube.
YouTube has got to be one of the most widely shared video platforms in the world. So, I mean, the fact that like a lot of networks and people these days are uploading like free samples to YouTube.
Oh, I'm 100%
awesome.
in on YouTube TV as the thing because I think YouTube TV is maybe the best television network or best television thing.
I've seen some of their original content.
No. I'm talking about when you can get like all the networks and stuff through YouTube.
Oh, dude, for sure. Like
it's $40, and then if you add, and I'm telling everyone this now, get YouTube TV and add Philo. It's $60 between the two, and you get almost 200 channels, and it's everything you want. And I do mean this, is including your local channels, which a lot of these streaming cable systems like DirecTV Now and Sling and all of those, only two that we have here do local channels. And the two that do it is Hulu and YouTube TV. So I recommend YouTube TV. It didn't lag on me at all. It's awesome.
Nice.
All right. So one of the questions we got is, since we run an online magazine, how do we feel about clickbait?
I'm very staunchly against clickbait. I think it's one of the fucking like right up there with fake news. I think it's one of the worst things plaguing internet journalism today. Like it's like there have been so, and this happens. You know what community this happens a lot in? The fucking nerd community.
Jesus H titties.
And you know who does this more than anybody? And you know who I'm going to say.
Can I say it? Can I say it because I hate them?
Please.
Comicbook.com.
Yes, comicbook.com. And their 130 plus websites or pages they have on Facebook. Every fucking article is like clickbait. Like, you'll never believe what happens, blah, 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 blah. And then you click on the article, and the article is just like four pages of nonsense. And then you get to the bit that you want to read, and it's like one sentence at the end, and then the article's over.
There's a thing on there right now. Like I just saw a thing on there about it's a wrestling article they did of what John Moxley said to Seth Rollins before he left, and it was like, you can come stay with my wife and me, and that's it. And it was just like, oh, okay, well, you made this sound like it's the grand gesture of like, this is going to be giant wrestling breaking news, and it's just like, you can come stay with my wife and I. What?
Yeah, it's just like they I don't know if you've heard about, there's just been image that's been circulating on the internet lately of a webbed number 4.
Oh, the Marvel Comics picture?
Well, it's no one knows what it is yet. And comicbook.com broke it as Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 4. They're like, in the article, I'll have to...
No, I know where you're going because I read the article.
like their title of it was something like
Marvel's getting ready to do Spider-Man 4 or something like that.
Yeah, and they said Marvel's getting ready. Oh shit, Marvel's getting ready to do Spider-Man 4, and it's like, wait a second, hold on here. And I read the article, and it's totally misleading because the title makes you think that Marvel Studios is getting the go-ahead to do the fourth Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie, and you're thinking like, wait a minute, there's already been 2 reboots. How are they going to go back and do a? But then in the article, they elaborate by saying, oh, it's going to be maybe a comic book version of the unreleased Spider-Man 4 script that Sam Raimi was working on. And I'm like, wait a second, that is not what you advertised that article as. And that's the kind of shit that I'm talking about. Like, I hate that kind of clickbait, where it's not even clickbait, it's just outright misrepresentation.
So I struggle with this as someone who promotes shit. I'm just going to let you know. I struggle with it because I'm like, okay, so I'm really good at I think I'm clever enough with titles. I think shows for episodes dictate that. I've got some we've got some clever fucking titles. But like the last one, Gaming Sausage.
Yes.
By the way, fuck all of you. And possibly, and our shirt person is on it, and I have seen the first rough draft of a Carolina Sausage Knob t-shirt. Fuck all y'all.
Oh, yes. It's actually going to happen. Fuck
Might be a couple of months, but dear God. The first drawing, by the way, is of sausage in the state of Carolina, North Carolina. So I'm like, whatever. That's how we're going to do it. Okay, so... Yeah, I struggle with this because it's like the only way that people click on shit on social media is if you do this like clickbaity kind of fucking write-in thing.
But there's 2 ways to do it. There's to do it the comicbook.com way, which is to just outright lie about what it is that you're selling. Or you do it the TBK way, which is you come up with like a clever, funny anecdote that may or may not have anything to do with the article itself.
I usually use quotes from the article, honestly. Like, I'll just take a quote from the article and put it as the thing.
All right, exactly. Or like the way you put the titles on these shows, like #trouser incident. Like it's just like it's organic and it happens in the show, so it's fun. And yes, you're getting a little snippet of a preview of what it is you're getting yourself into, but at least you know what you're getting into. Whereas comicbook.com is like Sam Raimi Spider-Man 4 happening next year. Just kidding, it's going to be a comic book. Fuck you, dude. That's so stupid.
Oh, and people were calling them out on that shit too. Oh my God.
And there's like a small contingent of people, and there's been a lot of theories sprouting up around this about what it actually means. And the most prevalent one right now is that they're going to do a comic book version of the unreleased draft of Spider-Man 4 that Sam Raimi wrote, which is probably what's going to happen. But what I like to think is there's going to be some kind of Spider-Man Fantastic Four crossover.
See, that's what I thought it was going to be, because that is the Fantastic Four 4.
Yes, it very much looks like it, all webbed up.
Because the Fantastic Four is not in comic form right now.
Well, no. Well, they are rebranding it, and that's going to segue into something that I actually wanted to talk about that I forgot until now. They're going to start making Fantastic Four comics again now that it belongs to the House of Mouse. And you're never going to guess who they're using as a template for Mr. Fantastic and Sue Storm.
I'm going to assume it's not the Mr. Fantastic and Sue Storm from the original movies.
No, they're using John Krasinski and Emily Blunt as a template to draw those characters. And they've already... And like,
God, yes. Jim Halpert.
Just something that came out. And now there's rumors circulating that Krasinski and Blunt are already on board. They're just waiting for the right time to announce it.
Can I just say
to make the movie?
Jim Halpert is Mr. Fantastic is the greatest thing
dude, that's
ever.
Awesome.
Oh.
And you know what? Fuck Emily Blunt, but whatever.
I love Emily Blunt. By the way, I've got to make this abundantly clear. I did not talk about this yet in any episode. The St. Louis Blues are your Stanley Cup champions. And I have to tell you, I fucking partied like it was 1999. Jesus Christ, man.
Man, they got away with so many triple plays in that game. It's ridiculous.
Shut up. What? During their parade in St. Louis, 1.5 million people.
And that's their first ever Stanley Cup?
Yeah, it's their first ever Stanley Cup.
Good for them. They deserve it.
It was a good... they came from last place in New Year's to win the Stanley Cup. That's right. Well, no matter... Whatever anyone tells you, if you can't do it, just look at the story of the St. Louis Blues. And you can.
Oh, speaking of, in the spirit of not breaking news, but I know we have a show dedicated to music, but there is something I wanted to talk. Two music things I wanted to bring up today.
All right, before we get back into our mailbag, continue.
Do you know the band Motion City Soundtrack?
I do know the band Motion City Soundtrack. That's not a name I've heard in a long time.
Well, because they broke up or they went their separate ways, indefinite hiatus, whatever you want to call it. Guess who's doing a comeback tour this year?
Are you shitting me?
I'm not even kidding you. And guess what? Their first show of the entire tour is New Year's Eve here in Chicago.
Well, that's a party.
Fucking A! That's so awesome. I love Motion City Soundtrack. You know, they're like the perfect blend of the fast-paced pop punk of Blink-182 with the nerdy synths and power pop of Weezer. It's like the perfect combination of those two bands.
God, I have not heard them in forever.
They are so good. Like, I just saw that like a couple days ago, and that's all I've been listening to the last like couple of days.
What damn song was always on my playlist of theirs?
Broken Heart? Was it Broken Heart?
No.
Please tell me it was Broken Heart.
It wasn't.
Was it oh god. Well, let me guess. Don't that's not Don't Call It a Comeback. It's Capital H. No. Fuck. Like there's just so many good songs. Like
it might be
so
This
many
Is
good
for
songs.
Real. It might be This Is for Real.
This Is for Real. It's such a great song.
Don't hold me to
God
that.
damn.
Don't hold me to that.
But yeah, no, like I got so excited, and the kickoff show of their comeback tour is New Year's Eve here in Chicago. I'm gonna try to move heaven and earth to get to that show, because like their last album was okay. It wasn't the greatest.
It was 2015, I believe.
It was okay. It was good. It was a good Motion City, but they could have done better. But like their album, My Dinosaur Life, is one of my all-time top albums of all time.
Let's talk about a band I have not thought of probably in 10 years or more.
So it's just to see that they're not only doing a comeback tour, but they're kicking off the whole thing in my city is just like, I'm so in love with this idea, and I cannot wait to go. Hopefully I get to go see this show. So there was that. I didn't know if you knew of them.
I did not.
How that would.
I fucking love them. So I figure you have one other thing.
Yeah, so
here.
like that's that was exciting.
That's actually pretty big news for us. Like you introduced me to the Interrupters last year, and I've just been constantly. I think we talked about this last week too. I've just been constantly living on repeat on their album.
Dude, they're so awesome.
Year.
Like all three of their albums are front to back, just great punk ska albums.
My ringtone right now, and you can hear it in this week's episode of, because I forgot to silence my phone. You can hear it in this week's episode of Striking a Chord. She's Kerosene. And I
love that jam.
Because I was like, oh, I need to make a new ringtone because it was Taylor Swift's Me, because I'm all about me some T-Swizzle. And all of a sudden, I was like, oh, I need a new ringtone. Because being that I had an iPhone for a long time, the one thing I hated about iPhones is it's so fucking difficult to make your own goddamn ringtone on a
That
goddamn
is one concession
iPhone.
I will make about Android over iPhone. Is that the being able to customize your own ringtone is
you have to
really
make it,
just
what is it,
garbage.
an M4R? It's an M4R file, and then with the Android, you could just use a clip of an MP3 file. Like, oh hey,
and you could like cut up you could like have the song on your phone, and you could do the editing on your phone and put it like all in one shot.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I have a sound editor, so I'm like, fuck it, I'll do it this way. And
Go
ahead.
No, the Interrupters, man. It just like, I love punk and I love ska, and I know you love ska, and it's such awesome. Like there's the song that got me introduced to the Interrupters. The one, yeah, that's right, Interrupters, woo, yeah, she's Kerosene, woo. Baby's watching Sesame Street right now. They're on the letter K.
K for special.
The song that got me introduced to the Interrupters was She Got Arrested. It was the very first Interrupters song I ever heard. And I listened to that song on repeat for like 4 weeks straight. So much so that my wife wouldn't even let me play music in the car because she feared that song was going to come on, because she just got so annoyed with it.
Nice.
And then I started listening to all their other music, and they have other awesome songs. And then their latest album came out, Fight the Good Fight. And the first single that dropped was She's Kerosene. And I was listening to that on repeat a lot because that's another fucking classic ska jam. And then the song that I started listening to after that, off that album, that I really liked was Title Holder.
Oh my God, that song's been stuck in my head for like days.
It's just such a good, uplifting message, impact in a fun, upbeat ska song. You don't get a lot of good messages and fun songs lately, so to have something like that get stuck in your head is awesome. But I was listening to it one day doing the dishes, and my wife comes home and she's like, "What's that?" I'm like, that band that you absolutely can't stand, even though you've only heard one song on repeat for the last 3 months? This is that band. And then she actually liked it so much so that now she's kind of come around on the band, and she still doesn't listen to She Got Arrested as much because I think I kind of killed it for her.
It happens. We've all been there.
But she like, based on the strength of the rest of that new album, and it's good, it's fun, it's got a powerful message, it's not negative music at all. They're just so fucking good. They're like my favorite new band that's come along in the last like 5-10 years.
They are so they're getting ready to go on tour in Hawaii. Like, dear God, like, that's something you don't hear very often.
They recently came through here in Chicago, and I got so fucking mad that I missed them because they toured with another punk band that I really am into right now called Masked Intruder, and I think, or was it Goldfinger? I'm not sure. So they were like,
Goldfinger's really fantastic. God, I love Goldfinger. Fuck,
dude, and Goldfinger is coming through with Goldfinger in MXPX are touring together or something. I don't know. I'd have to look up. There's a lot of good fucking...
I bet you a nickel and a dime on July 13th, you're going to get 47,000 photos from me.
Dude, why? What's July 13th?
That's when that is when the wife and I are going to see a Real Big Fish in the Aquabats. And I was like...
Oh, God, I'm so fucking jealous of you. I've seen the Aquabats and I've seen Real Big Fish, but that is always...
Okay, so I've seen Real Big Fish like 7 times now, but guess who I've never seen live?
You've never seen the Aquabats live?
So this
buddy, you are in for a treat.
So part of me is like, at some point, I really need to sit down with the Bat Commander. Like,
Dude, he just seems like the funniest motherfucker on the planet.
How can that dude make that music, do the Aquabat Super Show, and still come up with Yo Fucking Gabba Gabba? Like, that motherfucker has to be on some sort of drug. Like, I remember watching Yo Gabba Gabba and going, this is what happens when you take LSD and eat, like, peanut butter. This is the...
Burger Rain.
Oh, my God. I'm introducing Ashley before we go to the Aquabat Super Show. I can't wait to hear that reaction.
Oh, my God. You guys, you're in for a treat, Richard. Like, I've seen a lot of concerts. I've been to a lot of shows, all different types of music. And I got to be honest with you, one of the most fun I've ever had at a concert was the Aquabats. Like, it's so fun.
If I told you my top 5 or like my top 3 or 5 concerts, everybody'd be like, what the fuck, man? Because, of course, number one, I'm going to tell you is Taylor Swift. Because I told you when we did the show last year that was a religious experience.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 is the Real Big Fish, Suburban Legends, and Beavis and Her Moneymakers.
Mm-hmm.
Because, when you leave a show tired, that's a good fucking show.
I think my top 3 favorite shows, since we've already gone down this road, my number 1 has always been and will always be Green Day, Blink-182, Jimmy Eat World, and Saves the Day.
Jesus.
That's a stacked fucking lineup.
That is a stacked fucking lineup.
My second all-time favorite is Weezer, Motion City Soundtrack, and Jack's Mannequin.
All right.
I'm not really a big fan of Jack's Mannequin, but the other 2 bands, obviously. And then my third favorite show I've ever seen is it was like, make sure you're sitting down for this one, because I went to this when I was senior in high school.
Please be Britney Spears.
Huh?
Please be Britney Spears.
No. It's Real Big Fish.
Okay.
Less Than Jake.
Yeah.
Aquabats.
Jesus.
And Goldfinger on
Jesus.
the same bill.
So
my legs were so blown out from skanking all night. It was insane.
I think we need to explain this to anybody. Look, I get it. You guys are like, what the fuck is ska? If you have not listened to it, you should. I describe it on everything I ever talk about that it's happy negativity. But skanking is a dance style. I'm not I know that when I go to this concert, because it's inside, but it's inside a venue where there's a floor.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing that went through my head is, oh God, if I skank all night, I'm gonna die. So because I'm old. I'm 35. I'm almost 35. Like I'm 2 months away from 35. There's no way in hell I'm gonna skank for 3 fucking hours. It's not happening.
Mm-hmm.
But damn it, if I'm not gonna try.
It sucks. Like, I mean, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. But whoo, man, I had to like go home and ice my legs down because it was, and I was like 19, 20 at the time or whatever.
Yeah, no. Now it's
like.
Would you like to know my number 3?
Yes, let's hear.
Scott Bradley's Postmodern Jukebox.
Interesting.
I'm a firm believer in how great they are. Have you ever watched their videos on YouTube?
I'd seen a video they did of a Postmodern Jukebox version of Say It Ain't So by Weezer that I really liked.
It's really good.
And then they did one.
I'm getting ready to put one on the website in the next couple of days because they did a cover of Pinky and the Brain's theme.
I haven't heard of that one, but one I really liked is the one they did with All the Small Things with Puddle's Pity Party.
No, I've seen Puddles live twice now. Puddles is great.
Yeah, Puddles is awesome. He should have fucking won America's Got Talent. That's neither here nor there.
Pinky and the Brain's theme, they do it, but they also do it with Rob Paulson and Maurice LaMarche, who are in the video. And I'm watching this, and Ashley's watching it too because we went down a really big rabbit hole the other day.
Mm-hmm.
And Ashley's watching this and going, oh my God, do you see who the bartenders are? And I went, no. Oh, fuck. And they start doing the voices and doing this whole conversation in the middle of the song. While in character, while pretending to bartend. It is the greatest fucking thing I've ever seen. I was like, I have to share this with the world. So
now, of all these shows that they're bringing back, you think Pinky and the Brain would be
Animaniacs is. I mean, if they're going to do Animaniacs the way they used to do Animaniacs, which had the secondary cartoons in it,
that's true.
We're getting Pinky and the Brain.
But so that's a good show, huh?
Oh my God. I you know what? I miss those old school cartoons like that. I miss Pinky and the Brain. I miss Animaniacs.
I meant like the postmodern jukebox show that you went to.
So one, if you don't know Postmodern Jukebox, they do new music, but they redo it in like they do it from the style,
like 50s swing style,
20s to 80s.
Ooh.
But they do everything, and there are so many good songs that they do. I actually just posted a video of them covering Old Country or Old Take My Horse.
Jesus, that fucking song,
Old Town Road. But it's done by a blues singer from New Orleans. Oh my God. Like, that song, like hearing it out of her voice will make your pants melt. That's how damn good that song is. Like, whew, I got chills. But no, they're really fun live. Like, you're going to dance, you're going to laugh, you're going to smile. Like, you know every song. That's the plus side. They do
like it's not like you're unaware of the songs they're playing. They're all covers.
They do a cover of Cage the Elephant's, their big song.
Ain't No Rest for the Wicked?
Yes. The girl who sings its voice is really raspy. So
like Biebs?
Yeah, that's probably really good. She was on American Idol. Her name's Joey Cook. And the voice is just so good with that song. And I'm going, I want to listen to this forever. Like, fuck.
She
just did Black
Do they have
Parade.
stuff like on iTunes I could listen to?
Yes. They have their entire catalog on iTunes. They just did a whole album of rap songs.
YouTube only sensation or not?
No, they have albums. Like, they just did all rap songs. Like, that's their new album. Is they took all these rap songs and was like, here. That's how Old Town Road.
Gangster's Paradise. Did they do Gangster's
They have
Paradise?
done Gangster's Paradise.
Yes.
I don't remember the style, but they have done it. No, you should check out Postmodern Jukebox. They are great, and they are great live because they have a tap dancer. They have everybody's so energetic. It's not what you expected. I went to the first show going, oh, well, this is going to be a fun show, whatever. And by the end of the show, I was like, this is awesome. Like, I didn't want it to end.
Nice.
And you don't get to say that very often with concerts. Because, by the time some of those concerts are over, you're like, fuck, I want this shit over with. It's the same with certain movies. It's the same with certain events. You're just like, fuck, I want this over with.
Like, I went to see the Misfits not too long ago, and it was a great show. Like, I had a great time, and they were fucking awesome. But, I don't know if it's just because it's old age or because I just wanted to get home to see my daughter. By the end of the show, I was like, all right, dudes, let's wrap this up. I got to get home and go to bed. I'm old.
And how does it feel to be old?
Dude, I used to make fun of those old fucks at concerts all the time, and now I am that old fuck.
And how does that make you feel?
You know what? I'm okay with it. I got some gray hairs coming in. And, I enjoy myself.
Well, I had to ask now because now I'm intrigued. Okay, so questions this week. We got a lot. I just figured I was just going to take some, and we talked about a little bit of clickbait. So one of the other things we get asked too is why not do what's popular and talk about what everyone else is now talking about? Because I've learned, like, you can cover, and a lot of sites are now doing this, is to cover the political side of things. And I went, okay, let's talk about that.
Let's talk about that.
Not to go on the kind of situation like we talked about with Pride, because that's one thing, but to actually talk what's going on in politics. You want to know why we don't do it? Because I fucking don't want to. Like, I could talk about politics all day long. Like, I love politics.
It's just that's not who we are.
But everyone else fucking talks about politics. And this goes into the clickbait thing, too. Of when you post something, the only thing you want's the reaction. The only reason certain articles get posted is just so people fight in the comments. I'm 99% sure of that.
Oh, I'm 100% sure of that. Like, for sure.
Like, us covering the one article last week about the plus-size mannequins. It's funny.
Well, that's about as...
Yeah, that was dumb. But do you know what took off in the regular news around here?
What's that?
That plus-size mannequin story. And the reason is because it was so negative. You have to.
And that's why it's kind of why I feel like we don't cover a lot of politics, is because it's
negative.
Like we do, but it's negative, and we're a fun site. We're about having fun, and we're about that's kind of like what I went on my rant last week about. Like, everyone's so quick to tear apart and judge and hate, and no one just enjoys anything anymore. It feels like, and
I agree with that. I mean, there are some people who thought your opinion was shitty, but to those people, you are wrong.
Really? People thought I was wrong, huh?
Well, a few people did, yeah. And I mean, your mom sent this very explicit email telling me why you were wrong.
Well, that's my mom for you.
She's your biggest fan. She's also your biggest critic. But no, there was a few people that sent in like, hey, we can like what we like. You're right. You can. Just don't be tools about it.
Right. That's all I'm saying. Like, I'm not here to tread on anyone. Like what you like. Don't like what you like. Whatever makes you happy at the end of the day. I'm just like, that rant was for me, ultimately, at the end of the day. Like, I spent my whole life like critiquing things, or like, this would have been better if this had been done. But at the end of the day, I'm not a creator. I mean, I am in the sense that I write for the magazine and I participate on the podcast. But like, I don't make movies. I don't write TV shows. I don't make comic books. Like, it's not for me to critique that stuff. Like, that, we don't own that. They do. Let's just fucking enjoy it. And if you don't enjoy it, you don't have to fucking be a dick about it.
Like, I understand. Okay, we were talking about this on another show, like saying if something's bad or not. Because one, if you're covering stuff. Okay, so say we go to a comic convention and cover it, and something we find an artist whose art looks like, how do I say this? Looks like the social equivalent of the poo emoji.
Yep.
Because, I mean, I'm not a big fan of, like, everyone's style of art. I'm more watercolory. I'm more, like, I want in-your-face colors, all of that. Like, I'm not into gritty art. I'm just not. That's just me.
But that's what you're into, and that's what you like.
But there are times where you'll see an artist going, oh, we can't talk about that, right? Because it's bad, but we can't talk about that, right? Because, like, you know what I'm talking about. There's an art, like, you'll see an artist going, okay, so he just drew a box and then painted it blue, and there's a stick figure next to it and a scarf. Like, okay, I can do that. Yeah. Hey, come on.
Art in all its forms is subjective.
This is true.
At the end of the day.
But like, yeah, and it's kind of one of those things. Like, okay, so I get being a critic sometimes, but I also don't want to be a critic too. Like, I feel there's a double-edged sword here.
It is. It's a fine line to walk for sure.
Because I think some artists would be like, if it sucks, tell me it sucks.
Well, there's like constructive criticism, and then there's just being a dick.
Okay, so telling an artist, it's like, hey, look, I think the shading's a little off, but I think it's a really good drawing is one thing. That's constructive criticism.
Right.
Like, to sit there and look at the artist and go, I wouldn't even use that as toilet paper, that's you being a dick.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Like, I mean, you would paper cut your anal hole, but I mean, whatever. Oh, that's the title of this week's episode, Anal Paper Cuts. That's it. Done. Anal paper cut.
Oh, I love it. Anal paper cuts.
That's it. And if it was inside a Walmart, it'd be super anal paper cuts.
Oh, hi-oh.
Fucking Walmart.
Oh, man.
But yeah, no, that's kind of one of those things. We don't talk about politics. Now, there's occasional where, did you just make a fart noise at your baby?
Yeah, I did.
You better. That's probably a safe bet because either now people are going to think either he made the noise or he shit himself.
Well, I can neither confirm nor deny the actual sharding in question, but
oh my god! This show has been brought to you by Depends. Depends. Brody's favorite underwear since 1999. Depends.
It's like I'm wearing nothing at all. Stupid, sexy Flanders.
Oh my god! Okay.
Oh man.
So but there's sometimes where politics leads a story that makes you go, I have to write about that. Case an example, when Satan, what I don't know what to call her, when the bridge troll, I can't think of her name. I see her face, but I can't think of her name. Like she's all
Ann
over.
Coulter?
No, but that's pretty close. She looks like Ann Coulter. She looks like what would happen if Ann Coulter was put under a magnifying glass in the sun.
Oh, are you talking about Kellyanne Conway?
I am talking about Oh, God. The fact that you knew who I was talking about when I said that makes that even better.
She looks like a leather strap that got left under the heat lamp for way too long.
Yes. When Kellyanne Conway said the Bowling Green Massacre and alternative facts, I was like, I have to fucking pounce at this shit. Like, you can only do this for so long without going, okay, you have to make the joke now. Like, and I did. I wrote an article about how the Bowling Green Massacre was a bunch of chickens being fried at a KFC.
But you see, that's different. Like we do politics, but we put a humorous, like a satirical spin on it. Like we're probably never gonna do.
I mean, there's some, like I've wrote a few things. Like, I mean, there's one article that I did a long time ago, but like now, I'm going to write the pride stuff, but that's one thing. Like I'm going to write stuff I believe in. I feel like you should. I feel as writers, I feel everyone should at least write something they believe in. But I also feel that there's a fine line too, because I don't want to get into politics with anybody, because if I start getting into politics, I'm going to argue my side, but I'm also going to just be called stupid all the time on Facebook and social media. I'm fine with that.
Don't get into political arguments, and especially don't do it on social media.
No, that's one reason why I'm like, I'll blanket term it. Like if I'm going to write about it, I'm putting it under my umbrella where I don't have to worry about anyone's fucking statements and just my own.
Right.
Because at that point, I don't give a fuck what you think if I read about politics. Like, that's an honest-to-God opinion. Like, I love when we get opinions all the time. And yeah, I've taken a lot of opinions. Look, I want everyone to know this. You guys have sent me a ton of opinions on certain things about the website, and I'm working on that for next month. Ooh.
Whoa! Spoiler alert!
So, I just that's why everything changes. Kind of.
I would just like the viewers, or the listeners, I keep saying the viewers.
We're going to
I would
YouTube
just like
eventually.
to let the listeners know that while you're going on and on about politics and some heavy, weighty stuff, my baby's running around the apartment bare ass naked, pressing her butt cheeks on the TV.
What's on the TV?
Elmo.
It's Elmo's world.
Yeah. The baby's like, no, never mind. Normally I would take the time to make like a salad tossing joke, but I think I'm going to pass this time.
That's probably a good idea there. This episode is brought to you by Hidden Valley Ranch. I'll take the joke. Wait, okay, so no, I just don't want to get into it. But if I'm going to do it, I'm going to blanket it in my I'm going to put it under my umbrella where I don't have to worry about bullshit. If someone else shares it and says the bullshit, that's on them. But no one's going to take the time. Ladies and gentlemen, shitting your pants with Brody. But everybody's going to take the time. Like, if you take the time to actually bullshit it and put it in your own social media, that's on you. I'm not, like, I don't give a shit. Like, that's a personal opinion.
Politics is, especially in this day and age, is just like, I have my political views and I will defend them, like, if it gets brought up, but I really don't go out seeking the political conversation because it's just a quagmire of negativity that I really don't want to deal with.
And yet
right
the
now.
bullshit is that every faucet of everything we do, politics is starting to seep in.
Yeah, like things that we would just like enjoy just to enjoy have now become political in some way, shape, or form.
Like, if you would have said to me 10 years ago that we would really give a shit about what people tweeted about 10 years prior, I would have been like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, or that we'd be that like casting for movies would be turning into like political arguments, like this whole. Did you hear about this business about trying to get Brie Larson recast as Captain Marvel with a gay woman of color?
Yeah, you told me this. We went over that last week.
It's just like everything needs to be political now, and like even things that we would like escape to kind of get away from the negativity of politics have started seeping their way into our everyday lives, and it just kind of sucks.
Like, everything has to be like, okay, so I'll get online and I'll see a comment on something. And it's not even an article. It could be about kale. Like, the damn article's about kale.
A political argument about kale.
And somehow somebody will turn it into either saying, well, this is all Trump's fault, or those damn liberals. Like, it's either one of the two, and someone will make that comment, and I want to kick them in their fucking teeth. Like,
it's like, I'm just trying to find the nutritional value of kale chips. I don't care about your political agenda.
Like, I don't give a shit if you think this is like, I love reading. Like, there for a while it was like, it's Obama's fault. Like, that was the fucking thing for a long time, and I'm going, what the hell, people?
Like, there was this one video I watched a while ago. Like, Jimmy Kimmel does these mean tweets.
I love
things. I'm sure you've seen.
Yeah, I love those.
He did one where it was Obama, and every tweet
funny.
was like, "Thanks, Obama."
Yeah, those were fucking funny.
Yeah,
I like when someone can poke fun at themselves like that. I that's one reason. Yeah, no, I'm not going to tell you if I enjoy Trump. I can probably guess by my demeanor if I do. And that's the thing. Like, I don't care. I will advocate that you should vote. I'm 100% in the thought that you should go out of your way to make your. Wow, this episode is really crazy today, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is really all over the place.
Anal paper cuts. So. Should you go out of your way to vote? Yes. I think every American citizen who has the opportunity, who's 18 and over, should go vote. Like, I believe that. I feel like you should be out registered to vote and all that jizz. But you don't have to. And then if you don't, you get, well, I'm not going to go there.
To take a stance on that. If you have the ability to go vote and you choose not to, then you've lost your ability to complain about the state of things.
I've said that for a long period of time. The only thing you're allowed to complain about is what happens on American Idol, because chances are you probably voted on that once.
Yeah. The fact, it's sad that we live in a country where more people vote on American Idol and America's Got Talent than they do about something that actually matters,
let me rephrase that.
The political system.
Yeah, let me rephrase that. American Idol had a lot more votes until it moved to ABC and sucked dick.
Whew, man. Fuck Disney today.
Yeah, no. Next year, Disney buys TBK Magazine, going to turn it into a website dedicated to Goofy's pants.
Oh man. Hashtag trouser incidents indeed.
Welcome to goofyspants.org. Not .com, because it's got to be an organization. .org.
But yeah, like I had so many friends of mine who didn't vote in the last election, the last presidential election. And all they've been doing is bitching about Trump this, Trump that, whatever. And it's like, all right, that's cool that you have a belief, but you didn't vote, so you don't get a say so. I'm sorry. Like, you had the chance to make your voice heard. And like, even if that voice ultimately didn't matter, at least you went out there and you tried. if you're going to sit there and you're going to vote and you're going to bitch, that's one thing. But if you're going to bitch and you just like did not even try, then you don't get that right, because you did nothing to help the situation. You did nothing to make your voice heard. You just sat there and let it happen.
So this is something that we've never discussed on a show before. I think I have a way to fix the Electoral College.
Just don't do it anymore.
Well, that would be the easy way, and just do the popular vote. But I know that that's going to be an argument. But here's what I think. I think each state should split the electoral votes how the state goes. So say if your state has 10 electoral votes and 6 goes for one candidate, like 60% goes for one candidate and 40% of your state goes for the other, it should be split 6 votes to 4 votes.
So you're saying that, like, instead of just having an overall winner in each state,
yep,
if you've got like 200 votes and 150 go to Republican and 50 go to Democrat, that should be 50 to Democrat and 150 to Republican.
Well, like, okay, so the Electoral College is voted by Senator and House of Representatives. Like, how many people? So if it's 2 different votes, the 2 different you take the
votes
percentage and go, okay, so it's always, so that's why I'd use 10, because it's the easiest. So my thought was, I want to take a look at what would happen in the 2016 election if we were to figure out the Electoral College that way.
I don't think if we were.
Oh, are you ready for this? Are you ready for this?
Yes.
So I took all 50 states and I split up the votes as evenly as I could. So, like, you know, there's some states that only, like, Trump would have got 2 Electoral College votes out of like 15. And then there's some states where Hillary would have only got like 2 out of 15.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a very interesting. I was like, this has to be a better situation. The Electoral College vote was 270 to 270.
So it was tied.
It would have been tied, which I think at that point goes to whoever wins the popular vote. I'm not 100% sure. It's either that or it goes to the Senate. No shit.
Yeah, exactly, baby.
Like, either goes to the Senate and the House, and like whoever, then they vote.
I kind of feel like that's right. I'm not a big, like, I have my political opinions, but I'm not very well versed in the minutia of the political process. So
I also said the
like
same way of fixing the fucking college football championships too. Like, the NCAA should have had a tournament a long time ago, and I actually submitted that, and they fucking did the thing I wrote about.
You're welcome.
Goddamn, yeah. I don't know. There are times that, like, this show got serious.
All right, let's get back to some goofy shit.
Yeah,
this is too fucking serious for me.
Let's talk about goofy shit. My wife unplugged my coffee pot.
Okay.
So I go to make coffee before this episode begins, and I turn it on, and I take the dog outside, and I come back in, and my coffee's not making. And I'm like, why the fuck is my coffee pot not fucking making?
Uh-huh.
I'm hitting it. I'm beating it with my hand. I'm trying to figure out, did I put the water in the wrong hole? Like, look, it's a fucking coffee pot. You can't really do that much. I'm like, did I put coffee in? Is it actually closed? And then it took me about 5 minutes to realize the damn fucking thing wasn't plugged in.
Uh-huh.
No, I texted my wife and told her, you're welcome. Like, a guy in a much meaner way, because I was like, this is shitty. This is absolute ass. I'm going on strike. I didn't take anything out of the freezer for dinner tonight. Shit.
Yeah, so, you're going to have to make dinner yourself.
Oh, God.
Joke's on you.
It looks like we are going to the Burger King tonight for dinner. Yay.
Speaking of Burger King.
Oh, God.
Did you see this stupid new upside down promotion they're doing for Stranger Things?
Is it just the burgers upside down? Is that it?
Yeah, dude. It's just a Whopper. It's a normal Whopper. It has, like, it's not have anything extra or anything new. It's just a Whopper, but upside down. It's like, don't they serve that to us that way already? Like, I don't know about you, but whenever I go to Burger King, it's almost always the wrong side up.
Burger King will sell upside down Whopper. It really is just an upside down Whopper, isn't it?
It is. It's like it. I would have, like, they've done promotions before where it's been like a specialty burger where it's got like a specialty kind of sauce or something on it.
The fucking Angry Whoppers still piss me off to this day. Like, I don't even know about those fucking things.
But like it's like they've got a lot of Stranger Things promotions going on right now. I think one of the coolest things is the fact that like the Dunkin' Donuts are dressing up all their employees in the official Scoops ice cream T-shirts, like the ice cream shop that's going to be featured in the third season of Stranger Things. Like they've kind of like did like a like because the whole premise, well, not the whole premise, but the premise of this new season of Stranger Things is that it's taking place during the summer, which is why it's premiering on July 4th and not October like it usually does.
Right.
And it's that like, you know, this new mall, like it's the mall of the like future or whatever is going to factor heavily into the story. And one of the places in the mall is this new fictional ice cream store called Scoops. So Dunkin' Donuts / Baskin Robbins is having all their employees dress up in like officially branded Scoops ice cream T-shirts. So that's kind of fun. And they've got some like interesting new flavors of ice cream, and there's like a new like 11 lemonade drink that's actually pretty good. I tried it the other day.
Baskin Robbins has an 11 I think an 11 flavor of ice cream.
Yeah, so they're doing like that's promotion done right. Like they're not just giving you an ice cream cone and putting it upside down on a plate and you're like, here you go, here's some upside down ice cream.
My God, I would. You've been to a Dairy Queen where they go to serve you the fucking they serve you the Blizzard because they're supposed to serve it to you like they're supposed to tip it over upside down before they hand it to you. So this one time we go to a Burger King. It's on like or not a Burger King, but a Dairy Queen. It's one of the hottest days of the year because it's like when it's hot out, you want some goddamn ice cream.
Yeah,
especially soft serve because that is the greatest shit ever.
I do love soft serve.
So the girl hands Ashley hers, and it's fine. She goes to tip my Oreo one upside down to serve it because, like, you're supposed to show that it's not going to fall out of the cup, and the thing just goes like on the ground.
Splat.
And she looks at. Okay, so it's great. This poor server at Dairy Queen looked like she had it was a deer in the headlights look. The perfect example is the first time you ever see a pair of boobs when you're 12.
Yes.
Like it's just,
yes.
I don't know what to do right now. I don't know whether to look away, if I should just go do something else, or what. And like she probably stared at us for a good 30 seconds, not saying a word, not knowing what to do at all. It was great. We did finally get our Blizzard, but dear God.
But yeah, that's just like it's weird, like the promotional, like I know that Stranger Things is huge. I know a lot of people watch it, but maybe it's just me because
serve us upside down Cokes. Make that happen. Give us a cup, and then just the lid just goes poof, right all over our jeans. Like let's see that be a promotional thing. Fuck.
Like, oh, come here. Oh no, don't put that in your mouth.
I'll take things said on Brody's prom night for $200.
Oh man, but it's been weird because like I'm personally excited for the new season. Like I'm not as excited as I was, say, going from season 1 to season 2. But it felt like, and maybe it's just me, but I feel like people just. It's just weird to see the promotion for this show because I didn't think it was as big as it used to be. It doesn't feel like it was as culturally relevant as much as it used to be. So to see all this big push on promotion,
I think it lost its luster between after season 2. I think it did.
Which is weird because like I mean me personally, I enjoyed season 2. I even enjoyed season 2 better than the first one. That's just my personal, preference. Everyone has their own opinion. I'm very excited to see the third season. A lot of the stuff that I'm hearing it's going to be gorier, which is awesome because I love gore. I hear it's supposed to be scarier. They said it's supposed to be a lot like watching old school John Carpenter movies. My favorite movie of all time is The Thing. So already I'm sold. It's like all these things that they're saying in the lead up to the show has got me super stoked and I'm excited. But there's just something missing for me. Like the excitement going into the second season was just like, there was nothing on TV that year I was more excited to watch than the second season of Stranger Things. And maybe that's the problem. Maybe there's just too much good stuff out there nowadays that you just don't get as excited for that one thing anymore because there's all this other stuff to keep you preoccupied.
Right.
But I'm excited.
So I will tell you this. I did see the preview or the trailer for season 3 of Glow. And I have to tell you, that show may become the big show this year 100% because they added Gina Davis to the cast. And that cast is already good as is.
Whoa, man. You know your show's going to hit big time if you got Gina Davis.
Hey, you're like, fuck you. I don't know if I don't know if you've watched Glow. Glow is fantastic.
I actually have not.
Glow,
so I can't really make a comment one way or the
Dick
other.
Nugget.
I hear it's really good.
Go check out Glow. Like, it's a comedy that's like more than 20 minutes an episode. No, it is 25 minutes. 25 to 30 minutes an episode.
Isn't Mark Maron in that show?
He is. And
like
he
Mark
is
Maron.
he is great in Glow. So is the girl from Community, and I can't think of her name, but
That's another one of those shows that everybody raves about that I just have yet.
Community
not
is
watched.
fucking fantastic.
I don't like Joel McHale, so that's kind of a thing that is
Speaking
turning
of-
me off.
Okay, fuck you. Joe McHale is a national treasure.
He's
so-
good in some stuff, and he really sucks in other stuff.
He's great in Community. Community is his jam. I will tell you that now. The Jeff Winger character is him too. See, she agrees. The Jeff Winger character is him. Like when you see that character and you hear that character, you're like, that's Joel McHale. Like it works perfect. Joel is great on the suit.
It's just weird. Like I've seen him in a lot of non-comedy stuff, so maybe that's my problem.
That is your issue. That's your issue.
Because like he was in the X-Files reboot, the first version of it, and he sucked. He was so bad. Like he was so out of place.
I felt that entire reboot was out of place, but that's a whole other argument.
You go ahead and you get fucked right now, sir. Look what you did. You upset the baby with your hate
that
speech.
damn reboot's trying to get me sued right now, motherfuckers.
But I don't know. It felt out of place. Like here's Joel McHale in the X-Files. Like whatever. And then he was in this horror movie. It's a really good horror movie called Deliver Us from Evil, which is based on a true story about a New York cop who works a case with a Jewish exorcist. And it's a really good movie. It's a really, really good movie. And Joel McHale plays the main character's partner. And he's trying so hard to be a butch New York cop with like a bunch of fake tattoos on his arms and shit. And it's just like, oh, what are you doing, Joel? Get out of here. I can't take him serious. That's my problem.
No, he's great in
comedy.
comedies. Okay, so watch Joel McHale and the Joel McHale Show on Netflix because that's a definite. But him in Community is great. Speaking of Joel McHale, so I'm going out of my way to try to watch new things because Ashley's like, hey, look, I'm tired of you watching The fucking Office. All right.
Look what you did to the poor kid.
Like I don't want to. She's like, you have to watch new shows. She goes, you can't just watch the same things over and over and over. All right.
She's not wrong.
No, she's not wrong because eventually you just get tired of those two. So what I did is I'm starting to find new things on Hulu. And one of the new things happened to be something that's running this summer. I'm a huge fan of game shows. I don't know if I've made this abundantly clear ever. But man, I
don't think so, no.
My growing up, like before I started school, my growing up was USA Network in the summers. And it was because they would show reruns of all the game shows from the 80s. Like Press Your Luck was on there, Sale of the Century, Scrabble.
Oh, man.
Which was a terrible
Did you hear they
show.
brought back Press Your Luck?
That's where I was going with this. So, I discovered that they brought back Press Your Luck and Card Sharks. And I'm a fucking fan of both. Like, Press Your Luck is my favorite game show ever. So I went, okay, who's the host of Press Your Luck? It's Elizabeth Banks.
I fucking love Elizabeth Banks so much. She's like one of my number one crushes in Hollywood.
So,
she's so awesome.
I was nervous about her hosting because I was like, I know how Game Show Network did a reboot of Press Your Luck, and it was god awful. It was the equivalent of leaving a sandwich out for 2 days and trying to eat it.
An egg salad sandwich.
Ooh. So like the bread's hard and it stinks like shit. It tried, but it just wasn't good. So I'm like, okay, they're bringing this back. So they bring back the show, and I'm like, okay, Elizabeth Banks has to either be sarcastically funny or she's gonna bomb it.
Dude, I've watched one episode and she
killed
great.
it. My God, was it the very first episode?
I'm not sure which one it was. My stepson is super obsessed with game shows too, and he loves
me ask
watching
the
like, Wheel of
episode.
Fortune and Jeopardy and shit.
Let me ask the
So
episode.
I think it's the first episode.
I was gonna say, let me ask the episode. Was it the one with the new parents?
No, it's the one with the episode like it was between this college student dude with glasses and this black guy.
I haven't seen that one. Yet, so don't spoil that one. But the very first episode is like these new parents, and it's fantastic. Oh my god, it's fantastic. Because they actually suck you into the story, and Elizabeth Banks is so good as a host. Ashley, who hates game shows with a passion, like will not watch them.
I'm not a big game show guy either, but that one was entertaining, and I really liked the Alec Baldwin version of Match Game.
Yeah, no, that's really good too. So Ashley's always on her cell phone. She puts down her phone, and she's yelling at the TV. Because that's how much she got into Press Your Luck. And I'm like, I'm telling you, it is the greatest game show ever.
It's fun. Like, I could see that being a big hit.
However, Joel McHale is the host of the reboot of Card Sharks.
Oh, Jesus.
Joel McHale is fucking made for hosting a game show.
I don't think I've ever heard of Card Sharks before.
Okay, so Card Sharks is the most simple premise of a television game show ever. You get a question. It's a survey question. So say out of 100 people, how many people do you think would eat SpaghettiOs with the meatballs? And you would guess what you think the actual number is. So you would say like 41.
Mm-hmm.
The opponent would be like, do you think the answer is higher or lower than 41? So whoever gets it right, so say it's higher than 41 and she guessed higher. So she gets to go to this giant board. You get 10 cards. The idea is they flip over the first card and say it's like the 2 of clubs. You have to guess if it's higher or lower than a 2. That's it. That's the premise to Card Sharks.
Okay.
It's the most.
And Joel McHale is hosting a reboot of this?
Joel McHale's hosting a reboot of this on ABC. So the very first episode, you have to do it 10 cards. You have 5 turns to do 10 cards.
Mm-hmm.
So this one guy's halfway through his board. The other contestant has never touched the cards.
Wow, that's good. I take it.
No, that's not good. Like, so when you get to the last question, if you win, you have a choice. Either you can finish your run or make the other person you're playing against try to do all of their run.
Ooh.
So, I mean, he's halfway through. The other person has absolutely no cards. Like, at that point, you're going to make the other person do their run, right?
Right.
He did all 10 cards.
Oh, man.
And Joel McHale is freaking the F out and being sarcastic the entire, like that sarcastic happy.
Uh-huh.
Him and Elizabeth Banks were fucking made for game shows. And I can't believe I'm saying that because I didn't expect this.
Elizabeth Banks on that show is like, I really don't make it a point to sit down and watch game shows. Like
but you
catch
will
them
that
if
one,
they're
right?
on. But like she makes me want to watch Press Your Luck. Like,
go out of your way to
her
watch.
being on that show makes me like sit down and be like, all right, we got to watch this tonight.
Watch the first episode of Card Sharks.
Okay.
I think you'll enjoy it because one, I went, oh shit, Joel McHale's the host. So automatically I'm in because I'm a huge Community fan. And then just the way he carries himself, it's Joel McHale being sarcastic Joel McHale doing a game show. And I'm like, this is great. And the baby thinks it's great.
I am so sorry for the baby being so vocal today. She's our
third host of the day.
Oh man. All right. What network is it on?
ABC, which all the game show reboots are on. So yes, you can watch it on Hulu.
Done and done.
Yeah, that's 40. It is just 40 minutes long. Like you don't even have to pay attention. All you gotta do is just like enjoy it for a little bit. It's so good though. And I hated that. That show is so simple it should never be fun.
But the simplest things are often the most fun.
Like Deal or No Deal?
I never really liked Deal or No Deal.
I want someone to answer me this question. Is the new Press Your Luck in the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire studio?
It looks like it, doesn't it?
It does, because I looked at Ashley and I'm like, that's the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire studio. It just feels like it's the same studio.
Oh man,
Two.
my stepson, was super obsessed with. Like I said, he's super obsessed with game shows, but he's also on this kick lately where he's obsessed about reading about like conspiracies behind game shows.
Oh my
Like,
God! Have you read the story of the Press Your Luck dude?
yeah, like that's all he's been watching is like YouTube videos and documentaries about the Press Your Luck dude, about the guy who guessed the perfect price point on The Price is Right.
Can we talk about that? I just watched that documentary like a couple of
Isn't
weeks
it
ago.
so good?
I did one. So they document this dude who really isn't the guy who guessed the perfect bid either.
No, he's not. The guy who did the perfect bid is this like math teacher who memorized all the prices and shit.
So I didn't think that was the guy who did the perfect bid. I thought the perfect bid, like he told the dude what to say.
Right. The dude in the audience, like the one who ended up guessing the perfect bid was not the one who actually guessed it. It was It was just a good documentary. It's kind of confusing to talk about without actually having watched it.
It's so good. Like I sat there and went, okay, so number one, I didn't expect it to be that much fun to watch. Like I was like, this is just going to be a car crash of fucking television. And now I'm sitting there going, I want more about this guy. Like I want to know everything about this dude. Like he's gone to The Price is Right, what, 30 times?
Yeah, and like I thought it was going to be about how he got on air and guessed the perfect bid, but it ended up being this dude that he was sitting next to, and just like he just wanted to meet Holly and shit. Like it's such a good.
His love story for Holly's a little creepy, but
it's
a little creepy.
In retrospect, it is a little uncouth, but it's a really good documentary. Anyway, this kid is super obsessed with these game show conspiracy theories, so I had him sit down. And I'm like, all right, I got a movie for you. You might not like it. It might be kind of boring. I understand that you're 9 and you don't like this kind of thing. But I figured since you're into this right now, I sat him down and we watched the movie Quiz Show.
Oh, God, that's a great movie. My God.
And it is. It's a good movie. Not really a good movie to show a 9-year-old who's into like cartoons and video games and shit. But I figured since he's going through this phase where he's like super, super obsessed with, game show conspiracies, this was the very first one. So I figured he'd be into it. And he actually, to my surprise, he was into the movie.
What?
Like he was asking questions about it.
God.
He sat there and watched it. He didn't check his phone once. He was like super into it.
Do you know
how
much do you know about the Press Your Luck scandal?
I know a little bit. Like I was.
How the fuck do we go from LGBTQ pride to game show fucking conspiracy theory? Fucking hell.
Hashtag anal paper cuts.
Yeah, no, that is it today. Yay.
But like he was watching all these videos on YouTube about it, and I was kind of coming in and out of the living room because I was doing stuff around the house. But like I know this guy kept hitting the right, like he just kept getting it right on the money every time. And I don't remember if he had planned it that way, or if he really was just that lucky, but the postscript, the tragic postscript to that story was what really got me hooked into it. This guy won all this money and they let him keep it after everything went down, but he ended up getting robbed and all the money got stolen from him.
Okay, so what happened is this guy, I think, was a math teacher too. Like, I think he was some sort of like maybe a tech programmer. He was a very boring individual.
Mm-hmm.
He goes on Press Your Luck, and at the time, the board was not ran by a computer. Like today's board is ran by a computer, 100%. Like that's going to be random every fucking time.
Yes.
But back in the day, it was in a pattern. There was, I think, 15 different patterns.
Oh, so he just memorized the patterns?
He memorized every pattern. He won over $100,000 from Press Your Luck.
That's dedication.
And everyone thought, well, they figured he cheated somehow. Like that was the thing. But I don't feel like learning the patterns is cheating, other than I think it's beating the system.
Well, that's the same thing with the
Price is Right dude. Yeah.
Like he didn't technically. Well, the guy that ended up guessing, like the guy that was on the show that won, I guess that could kind of constitute cheating.
But no, you can get the crowd. But like the crowd yells numbers at you constantly anyway.
True. So I mean, there's workarounds for that. But the Press Your Luck guy, that wasn't cheating. That's just gaming the system. There's nothing wrong with that.
He hit a whammy. I think he hit the whammy on purpose in round 1. I honest to God believe he hit the whammy on purpose.
Why do you say that?
Because I think it was a way to fuck with things. Like it was just a way to mess with it to make people think, oh, he's not going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then he does the $100,000. And then, like you said, the tragic ending to this story is just fucking ridiculous.
It's just like it's crazy that guy won that much money and it's gone.
It's kind of the dude from The Price is Right got on the show and won stuff. I think he still has the recliner. If I remember the documentary correctly, he still had the recliner.
Yeah, he still has the recliner. He won some of the prizes, but I really thought it was going to be him that was going to end up winning the big money. I didn't realize it was another guy.
Like, and it is true. Like, Price is Right was one of my favorite shows growing up. Like, my best friend at the time would call me, and we would discuss what was happening on The Price is Right. Yeah, I lived a very exciting childhood. And
yeah, sounds like it.
And like anytime Plinko would come on, we would fucking lose our shit.
Oh, I loved Plinko. Plinko was always my favorite.
Plinko and Punch Out, those were my two. But yeah, like we would get super excited. Yeah, so then like finding out, like you would remember the prices. That's the thing. Like you'd watch the show enough, you could remember the prices. But this dude put together what? Microsoft Excel files of everything?
He was like super in depth and involved in it. It was pretty.
He created a game, or he created a computer program that had everything that's ever been on the show, and he could tell you the price perfectly. Like, what kind of knowledge did you have to throw out of your own mind just to do that?
Yeah, but he's also, wasn't he like a mathematician or something?
Yeah, he was crazy smart.
So I mean, having that kind of almost genius level intellect, I'm sure, helped him in his pursuit.
Oh, game shows, man. Dude, when Who Wants to Be a Millionaire debuted, I was all about that show too.
That was like the new quiz show. That was like the game show that took over America.
I'm trying to think. Like, there's been some really bad game shows. Do you remember? There was one on Fox. Do you remember the game show where they brought in like it was a lie detector show?
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, the dude had like this girl had to like admit that she cheated on her fiance during that. Like it was.
I think I remember what you're talking about now. It was like a big news story.
Yeah, it was like the most uncomfortable fucking show to watch. Like it kept going up, and like every question would get more and more like
intense.
Yeah, and it just made you look like a bigger piece of shit. Like the larger it went. Like, oh my god. It
should have been referred to as who is the bigger piece of shit.
Pretty much. And Fox did a few of those. Fox did another game show called Greed. The Weakest Link was fun. That was during that craze with the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Mm-hmm.
I loved her. You are the Weakest Link. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Oh, she made me, like, honest to God, I probably would piss myself if that woman actually said that to me.
We can't talk game shows without talking, God, what? I can't say it now. Fuck, what was the name of that show? God damn it.
I was on a game show.
The Apprentice.
Oh, God. I was on a game show once.
Were you?
Do you know this?
No, I did not.
Yeah, I was on a show called Catch 21 on Game Show Network.
Really?
Yeah.
What was it?
Okay, so fun story. Because I don't know if I've ever talked about this on the show.
Breaking ground here at TBK.
Yeah. I mean, I've talked about it, but I don't know if it's been in like the newer run of the show. Like, I think it's before we got fans.
Jesus.
Like, it's before all three of you started listening. Okay, so back in the day, I was a huge fan of Game Show Network. Like, my mom, that's all she watched. So afternoon lineups, they would do these contests and like call-in shows.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I won a pair of diamond earrings from that. I won a blender. I won hundreds of dollars. Like, it was cool. But they did like this one contest where like you made a design of something, and if you won, you got a trip to California, you got to audition for a game show. You don't necessarily get to be on the game show, but you get to audition for the game show.
That's cool.
And I get a phone call at like 5 o'clock at night from a number that's just all zeros. So
that's
this is
weird.
Yeah, this is back in the like I had a what's the phone? A Razor. So like it would just show up 9 zeros. I'm like, who the fuck is calling me? So I actually get brave enough to answer it because I hate answering numbers that aren't real.
Oh, I hate answering numbers that I don't like. If you're not a contact in my phone and the number just comes up, the phone number, I never answer it. I always wait for it to go to voicemail.
It's one reason why I'm super happy I got the new Android, because it actually tells me what's spam now.
I got a fun little story for you, but we'll do it after you're done with your story.
Sweet. All right, so so I get this phone call, and it's this guy telling me, "Hey, I got a question for you." Yeah. How would you feel about the fact that you just won a trip to California? And I'm like, yeah, I'm calling bullshit. No, I'm from Game Show Network, and he told me everything, and I'm like, is this real? So the next day, I get FedEx papers. Like, they FedEx me overnight all the paperwork to sign and everything, and I went, oh my god, I actually did win this.
Holy shit! Nice.
So this is the only thing I've ever won in my life, and
Except the heart of your wife, you dumbass.
no, she won the heart of me.
Oh shit! Way to turn it around on me.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So I get this bit, like the paperwork's there and everything. I'm like, okay, cool. This is odd. Like, this is real. Okay. And they tell me I'm coming in March, and I'm thinking, oh my god. So they didn't tell me what game show I'm auditioning for. And at the time, Game Show Network had like 4 originals.
Mm-hmm.
There was Catch 21, which is pretty much just a blackjack and trivia game. There's a bingo game. And there was like 2 others that nobody watched. I was hoping for the bingo game, honestly, because I was like, that's more me. Like, that, I'm fine with that. There's not a lot of trivia involved with it. I could do this. They end up, it's Catch 21. So I go audition. So let me start over. So I get to California. They take me to the studio. They put us up in the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel, which is like one of the more famous haunted hotels in California. In Hollywood, yeah.
Spooky.
So I'm freaking out. So this room is more expensive than my rent. Like, it's a suite at the Hollywood Roosevelt. Like, in our elevator going up to the room was the chick from iCarly. So I'm
Miranda Cosgrove?
Yeah, Miranda Cosgrove. Like, I'm already fucking stoked. Like, I just met Miranda Cosgrove. This is really cool. Like, this is before cell phone pictures were really good, because I wish now I would have had a better phone. Because I would have took a ton of photos during this trip. So we go to the studio, and I also discovered In-N-Out Burger on this trip. But
love In-N-Out Burger.
So they give us a gift card to go eat sushi, and my ex at the time was like, she ain't having it, but I'm like, I'm learning that I enjoy sushi on this trip. So they tell me that I got cast after my audition. Like, I killed the audition.
Nice.
And I'm like, oh my god. So
I'm gonna be on TV.
So the next day they tell me to get there at 8. My dumbass thinks 8 o'clock my time.
Ooh, you were late for your thing.
No. 10. Okay, so they tell me to get there at 10. So I'm thinking we're ahead. Like, I forget I'm in California.
Uh-huh.
I get a phone call from my mom telling me how much she loved me and stuff at 10 o'clock Central Time, which is 8 o'clock in California.
Mm-hmm.
We panic and scramble, get dressed, and freaking ghost. My ex drops me off because she can't come inside with me for a long period of time. Like,
okay.
She just can't. Like, she can't be there. Like, that was one of the weird things. Like, she can be in the crowd, but she can't be at the... Like,
taping?
No, she can't be at the thing. Like, so they take me backstage, right?
Mm-hmm.
She can't be at this part. Like, she can be there for the taping, but she can't be anywhere else.
Okay.
So I was like, oh my god. So I'm standing there, and the guard's like, you realize you're 2 hours early, right? Wait, what? So I'm just standing there talking to the guard at the TV studio. And all of a sudden, this, like, Lambo, it's a really nice car, comes flying around the corner and almost takes me out.
Was it Bruce Wayne?
No. Yeah, I'll tell you it is in a second. So the guard didn't even cart him, just lifted the gate. And he goes, yeah, that happens every day. That's the dad from Wizards of Waverly Place. He drives like a madman. And I was like, oh, this is funny. So finally the lady gets there and takes me inside. And we get inside the studio. It's also the same studio where Disney films all of their TV shows.
Ooh, that must have been fun.
So we're going. She's like, yeah, there's going to be craft services for lunch. And I was like, I don't know if I want mac and cheese, because I had no idea what craft services was until this day.
Did you say that to her? Please tell me.
Yes, I did. I was like, so just boxed mac and cheese and like ketchup? Like, I had no idea. So we go film the episode. They bring my ex back. Oh, okay, so the episode number 1 is we're filming it, and I didn't realize I got to know one of the other contestants really fucking well.
Mm-hmm.
His name, and I'll even say his real name, because he's a pretty cool dude. He does bluegrass music. Yep.
Okay.
He does. Well, there's a reason I'm saying this, because he's a really nice guy.
Okay.
I can't. Oh fuck! I don't. His name is Matt Doherty. Doherty. Yeah.
Doherty?
Yeah. So he's I'll tell you more about him in a minute. So and then the other girl in there was getting ready to be homeless. And like I can't, like, we both looked at each other and went, I don't want to win now. And we both didn't. Like, the cards fucked us. So I was like, okay, cool. Like, I'm 100% fine with this. Woots. Like, this girl deserved the money. Cool. Okay.
That's good. The homeless girl one.
She was awesome. Like, we're still, all three of us on that episode are still friends.
Nice.
But I got to know Matt really well, and at the time, had I known this, I would have freaked the fuck out more than I did when I met the host of the show, who was Carlton on The Fresh Prince. You
met Alfonso Riviera?
Yeah, and by the way, he does not like when people ask him to do the Carlton. Like, at that time, he didn't. He does now. He's fine with it. But at that time, like, someone asked him in a previous taping, and he almost, like, he just went to his trailer and was like, I'm not doing it anymore today. Like, kind of situation. Like, that dude was a dick to him. But, so, okay, so I met Alfonso, and he's a really cool dude. I met the girl who did the balls on the show, or did the cards. She was really sweet. And I'm talking to Matt backstage, and Matt and I are getting to know each other, and this is before they take us to lunch. And Matt goes, yeah, I'm an actor too, but I really haven't been in anything since I was a kid.
Uh-huh.
What did you do? And he goes, I was Averman.
Averman?
In the Mighty Ducks.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Which one? Wait, hold on. Which one was Averman?
In the Mighty Ducks.
I know, but which one was he?
The one that did the really terrible commentary while they're playing.
Really? That's him?
Yeah.
That's fucking sick, dude. I love those Mighty Ducks movies.
Oh, man. And I told him, like, all day, I'm like, you have no idea how much those movies meant to me as growing up and all that shit. I was so fucking stoked to meet him. I told him how, like, he was one of my favorite characters. And then we just started talking music, and when I was working radio, I played his music on our radio station.
Ah, so Averman's a bluegrass guy, huh?
Yeah, no, he plays bluegrass. He does a lot of shows in California and Chicago, ironically.
Nice.
So this happens. So they go get my ex, and now they're going to take us to craft services. So the taping's done. I didn't win. Okay, fuck it. They take us to craft services, and it's on where they had craft services set up is the same soundstage where they shot I Love Lucy.
Ooh.
So they actually had a plaque up and everything, and there's like this table that you walked by. Only me at this time would this happen. So there's this table, and you could sit, like, there's just a bunch of people sitting at it. And sitting at this fucking table, they said hi to us. Like, how are you? Are you enjoying yourself? And the girl the lady who cast the game shows, and I still talk on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
Because she was super sweet. She also does, like, the casting for Family Feud and, like, 4 other game shows. Like, she's an amazing person.
Okay.
So I'm sitting there, and I realized, like, 2 minutes after we go get food, that was the fucking Jonas Brothers.
Dude, are you like the accidental, like, run into somebody famous every time you go somewhere?
Kinda, yeah.
Because that's what this sounds like, man.
No, like, okay, so they put us in, like, all these situations where we would run into celebrities. Like, every situation we had, we ran into somebody.
That's crazy.
So, to fast forward, so that night after the game show taping, we got tickets to go to Jimmy Kimmel.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, out of all the talk shows to go see it, we were, there's 2 options in California. Either at that time you're going to go see Jay Leno or you're going to go see Jimmy Kimmel. Well, Jimmy Kimmel's studio was right next to our hotel.
Jimmy Kimmel, obviously.
Jimmy Kimmel, like, we could walk. The Hollywood Walk of Fame's right outside our hotel. Like, let's go to Jimmy Kimmel. So we go line up for Kimmel, which tapes at like 3:00 our time. like, or 3 o'clock their time. It's like 5 here. Like, it's a crazy early time. And on that episode of Jimmy Kimmel is Heidi Klum, Bryan Cranston, the lead singer of Audio Slave.
Chris Cornell?
Yeah, who passed, yeah. Who did a concert. So we got to see Chris Cornell perform. And The Rock.
Do you smell what The Rock is cooking?
And this is
what was he promoting?
It was 2009, so Tooth Fairy? I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably the Tooth Fairy, honestly. I got to think about this for a minute. Like, they had to tape his interview early. Because he was filming something, because something else was coming up. It might have been Race to Witch Mountain.
Jesus, that is such a bad period of his career.
It was either Get Smart or it had to be Race to Witch Mountain. It had to have been Race to Witch Mountain. Okay, so Bryan Cranston's is promoting Breaking Bad, which I think it just started. Which is kind of ironic since that's how you started the show.
Wah, wah.
Yeah, no, it was Breaking Bad. He just started talking about Breaking Bad. Like, season 2 is getting ready to come out of Breaking Bad. The Rock's on there. Heidi Klum's talking about America's Next Top Model, and then, or not a top model, the other one, the fashion show, and then the one on Bravo, and then we get the Chris Cornell concert, and all I can sit there and think about is, what the fuck is happening? So this entire time in California, we just run into people. So after the show is over, they take us outside to see Chris Cornell perform. Well, Bryan Cranston's just out there shaking hands with people.
Did you shake hands with Bryan Cranston?
Oh, yeah. Nice dude. And, like, everybody was just...
Who are you?
I don't know. Like, 2009 was such a weird year. And, like, that was 10 years ago. Like, by the way, 10 years ago to the date, almost, that my episode aired.
Interesting.
Yeah, I actually just... But yeah, that was a fun trip. And then, first time really flying to California and getting stuck. Like, we actually got put up in Dallas for a night because our airplane malfunctioned. Like, that's fun.
That armpit of a state.
I tell you. So yeah, no, meeting Alfonso, going to a game show, that happened. I'm telling you, game shows are my life, man. That time period, I probably won almost $3,000 off Game Show Network, not counting that trip.
I got to do game shows more often. Jesus.
They don't do it anymore, but...
Damn it.
Yeah, they quit that like a year later. I'm like, I probably was their only viewer.
Oh, man.
They had a name that if you could guess the sound, they'd send you $1,000.
You're fucking... Are you... Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Must be nice to just give money away like that.
I think they tried to give away that fucking sound thing for... The first one took like 8 months before someone got it.
Holy shit.
Which was just someone crumpling up some tinfoil. Like, it was ridiculous.
So it was a lot more complicated than it actually was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they only had also 3 people call. Like, so to get in for that one, like, after they played the noise, you had to call in. So they only did it like 3 times a day. So you have to think that's actually 5 times a week, 15 times a week. That's really not that lot. That's not a lot.
What's that?
And they only did it 15 times a week. Like, they only played that sound where you could guess 3 times a day. So 15 times a week. Yeah, all right. But yeah, Game Show Network, man. It was my life.
Yeah, I mean, I do enjoy me some game shows. I mean, not, obviously as much as you do, but I mean, I do, like, I'll sit down and, like, I like watching Jeopardy. Jeopardy's a fun one I still watch.
I suck at Jeopardy now. Like, 10 years ago, I probably could have, 10, 15 years ago, I probably could have killed a Jeopardy. Now I'm just like,
I'm the reverse. Like, 10, 15 years ago, I sucked ass at it. But nowadays, I'm still not that great, but I'm better at it now than I was then.
I know that part of me always wants to be on Wheel of Fortune. Until I found out how much the wheel weighs.
How much does the wheel weigh?
About 70 pounds.
Really? That whole thing?
And she said when you go to spin it, it'll take you with it. She said
I'd love to see that happen.
Yeah, she said there are times like they'll have the contestants come in and do practice spins because it weighs so much. Like it'll take you. And she said there's occasionally.
Oh God.
She said there's occasionally, and it's always the person on the end that does it, like on the blue spot. She goes, they'll spin the wheel, and the wheel the wheel is just so heavy it just takes them with it. So they're running with the wheel around it because if you're on that last spot, you don't have to worry about getting flipped over the thing. So,
good grief.
So she says there's videos of it. She goes, they'll never release it, but there's videos of it.
That was going to be my next question. I'm like, I wonder if there's YouTube videos of dudes and men and women being taken away by this fucking wheel.
No, the wheel from Wheel of Fortune just takes somebody with it and just throws them onto like the $300 square on the wheel.
Oh man,
the Price is Right wheel's really heavy too, from what I've heard.
The Price is Right wheel? Yeah.
No, that was some really cool stuff. I got to learn a lot about game shows that day. Holy crap. The fact they tape like 15 game shows a day.
They do 15 a day?
15 episodes a day, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's nuts. That feels like a lot.
Yeah, they start filming at 9 in the morning and go until about 9 to 10 at night. It's insanity.
Oh man.
How did we get on game shows? Well, fuck. Who cares?
I don't know, man. We went from politics to Burger King to Stranger Things to game shows. Like, this really is, I think this might be one of the more all over the place episodes you and I have done in a while.
This might be the most all over the place show ever, honestly.
Yeah, because this is like we talked at the top of the show. This is like 15 minutes before the show we started. We're like, hey, you want to do an episode? Sure. All right, cool. Done.
Yeah, that's how this episode, by the way, if you want to know when things get serious, it's just because they're unplanned. And it's like, I just want to talk about things I want to talk about at that point. Like, fuck it. Didn't you have some Blink-182 shit you wanted to talk about?
Oh, yeah. Fucking Blink-182.
Oh, God.
No. I love Blink-182. They're one of the first bands I ever got into was Blink-182. Like, the first couple bands that I ever got into music, like of my own. Like, the first music I ever really heard as a child was like a lot of Motown stuff. My dad really likes Motown, like Diana Ross, Four Tops, the Temptations, that kind of thing. But like the first music that I really discovered for myself was like Weezer, Blink-182, and The Offspring were like the first three bands that I ever got into. And I love Blink-182. To this day, they're still my favorite band, even though a lot of fucking decisions they've been making about their career have been questionable at best. And again, that just feeds into, well, that's what they want to do. Who am I to critique them? If that's the direction they want to go in, that doesn't tarnish all the music that came before it. I still like all that stuff. And maybe I can enjoy this new stuff on a different level. I really, really am trying, Richard, to get into that new song. But every time I turn it on, it just gets worse every time I listen to it. Considering like the history of the band, considering the music that they've made, and that they're music that they're relatively known for making, and then you put that song on, and it's just like you wouldn't even know. Like if you would have played, like let's say you played The Rock Show, and then like you played Blame It On My Youth back to back, but you didn't tell the listener who it was, and they'd never heard of Blink-182 before, and you played those two songs back to back. There's no way in hell they would know that that's the same band.
Oh, I agree. I completely agree with you.
So just like I personally do not like if this new single is an indication of the direction they're going in. I don't like it. I like my fast, catchy pop punk Blink-182. I don't like this new, whatever you call rock music these days version of Blink-182.
Can we just say how great Brendan Urie is, though? Fuck Blink-182. Brendan Urie of Panic at the Disco is the fucking man. Holy crap. All right, sorry, I had to get that out of my system.
How much of a tit, or how much, oh, Jesus. How much of a tent are you pitching over Brendan Urie right now?
Dude.
My wife loves him too, by the way.
Let me just say
you
this.
two would be best friends.
Let me just say this. Again, everybody knows I'm a huge T-Swizzle fan. And there was, Taylor and Brendan did a song together.
Mm-hmm.
And I went, this is if they go on tour together, the world explodes.
You will never, and I mean never, get Brendan Urie or not. Maybe Brendan Urie and just
Not
a
Panic?
solo project.
Not Panic?
But you're not going to get Panic. Well, Panic is basically Brendan Urie's solo project. Let's be honest.
Well, I was going to say, Panic at the Disco and Taylor Swift on tour together would be the fucking biggest tour ever, correct? Like, I'm not...
No, are you fucking high?
Do you know what the highest grossing tour is right now?
What?
I think it's the Reputation tour.
Well, Taylor Swift, yeah, anyone you get with Taylor Swift, it's going to be big, but it's not going to be big because of Panic at the Disco. Like, you know what would be the biggest, like, best-selling tour of all time? If fucking My Chemical Romance reunited and went on tour with Taylor Swift. That would be the biggest selling concert of all time.
Okay, so the highest grossing concerts. Here we go. By the way, I'm not the biggest fan of My Chemical Romance.
Oh, I'm not either.
I think Panic is better. I honestly, okay. But I think that would be one of those, that would be such a power tour. Holy shit.
I think, I mean, between you and I think I like My Chem better than Panic because My Chem's at least got a little bit more of a punkish sound to their music.
I get where you're coming from, but I'm going to say something that's going to be really terrible.
What?
Panic at the Disco still together. All right, so...
Say that again?
Panic at the Disco still making music. You can send all your hate mail to Sharon at tbkmagazine.com.
Fucking Sharon.
Oh, she'll kill me. One of the highest grossing tour recently is Taylor Swift's, especially one of the highest grossing of female artists. So
I like. No, right. Here's your mac and cheese. Jesus.
We've all been there.
I just to go back to Blink-182. I don't agree with the direction if this new single is any indication of what the rest of the album is going to sound like. Now, we don't know. Maybe this is just the single and everything else is going to be great. Who the fuck knows? But they're making a lot of like this tour with Lil Wayne, and there's something else that they're doing. So they've recently announced, since this is the 20th, this year is the 20-year anniversary.
They're going to play. Yeah.
What's that?
Oh, they're playing. Is it Enema of the State?
Yeah, Enema of the State. This year marks the 20-year anniversary and the 18-year anniversary of Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, which no one is talking about, which is, in my opinion, the superior of the two albums. But that's just, my opinion. So they've been doing a lot of weird stuff in their like social media posts. Like about 2 or 3 months ago, Mark had said that the album, Matt, and Travis have all said that the album is going to be ready before Warped Tour in this year. Like it is going to be out and it's going to be available for everybody. And then the closer and closer we've been getting to Warped Tour, there's been no other new singles. There's been no album announcements. We don't know what the title is. We don't know how many tracks. We know next to nothing. We don't even know that Blame It On My Youth is going to be from the album because they've never even actually commented on it being a part of the album. They're just like, here's a new song from Blink-182. So we know next to nothing about this album, which is really worrying me because Blink-182 is a legacy act. Like people, they're not as popular with kids nowadays as they were when I was a kid. But people still like the band. And they've been moderately successful. Like their comeback album 2 years ago was nominated for a Grammy Award for Best Rock Album of the Year. Something they've never had happen to them before. So, I mean, there's still a certain modicum of relevancy in their career. So it's not like they've, they're has-beens or anything. But just some of these decisions, like the fact that we know next to nothing about this new album. We don't even know if this new single is a part of the album. The fact that they went from advertising their summer tour as Blink and Lil Wayne to they've changed their tactic now. Now they're not even advertising it as Blink and Lil Wayne anymore. They're advertising it as Blink touring Enema of the State.
Oh, because
so that's weird.
Well, I don't know if sales were great for that tour. Like
and that was going to be my next point. So I've been checking like sales. It's like $100 for general admission tickets to these shows. $100. I remember.
Are you butt fucking kidding me?
I'm not kidding. I am not kidding. $100 for General, and the only reason it's that expensive is because it's, I hate to say it, it's Lil Wayne. Because you go to any other, like the last Blink-182 show I went to, they played at House of Blues last year here in Chicago. Or was it 2 years ago? That was last year.
This actually may not be on Lil Wayne as much as it is the company that's sponsoring the tour, because I think this is a Live Nation tour, isn't it?
Yeah, it might be. I am not entirely sure.
If it is a Live Nation tour, those, like, I love Live Nation. I think they're great. Like, I think they put on good shows and everything. I think they set up great things. But dear God, everything's so much more expensive at Live Nation shows. Fuck me.
Well, I think that's part of it too. Also, rap shows tend to be a little bit more expensive. So I'm sure, like, the combination of it being Live Nation and featuring something like Lil Wayne, but it's just like if you go and the tickets are not selling, they are not selling at all. Like, if you look and you go to any random venue and you click on it, and they're not even close to
this
being
is what I'm
sold
doing.
out.
I'm actually looking at tickets in St. Louis for Blink-182 and Lil Wayne.
And it's like it's $100 for general admission. You're getting, like, if you're a Blink-182 fan, you're getting a Lil Wayne as the opener, which is bizarre because their music is not even remotely similar. Then you're getting Neck Deep, who is actually a pretty okay pop punk band.
Holy shit!
What?
Okay, so I just went to see the same venue. They have lawn seats at this show, and those are like $42. That's really expensive for a lawn seat.
That is, when you consider, like, when I went to the Blink show last year at the House of Blues, it was $20.
So the same seat that we had at for the concert that the Rascal Flatts concert that we took Ashley's mom to was $20, but it was like $35 without. 35, I think, before that sale happened. You remember the $20 sale?
Yeah, I remember.
Dude, the seat that we were at are $92 a piece. They are not selling worth shit.
No, I think this is going to be, and I think the combination of maybe the single being not as warmly, like, I don't know how the single is charting, so I couldn't say with any certainty, but I know that a lot of fans, like, I follow the official Blink-182 Reddit page. I'm following them on Facebook, Instagram, and everything. Fans are not that jazzed about the new song. So I think a combination of the new song not being as warmly recepted, I think the combination of the tour just not selling well, I think plus the fact that they don't even know what the fuck they're doing with this new album at this point. I'm really kind of nervous, to be honest with you. I mean, I've never really been nervous about a Blink-182 album before, but this time I am. It's like, it just seems that everything is kind of going to shit for them right now. And I think the reason why they rebranded this whole tour as, we're going to play Enema of the State front to back, is because they realized that, like, no one's buying the tickets. The new single isn't maybe performing as well with the fans as they thought it would. And their decision to go tour with Lil Wayne, while maybe in their heads cool, not really doing them any favors.
I'll be honest with you. I don't know if this is because I'll say this. I don't think it's for what you think it is. I do believe it's because the songs suck.
You think it's because of the new single?
Yeah.
I think that's part of it. I agree with you 100%.
But also, like, outside festivals, where you have artists that are fucking crazy, where you have, like, a ton of artists, shit like this never does well.
Say that again?
Shit like this never does well unless it's a freaking festival.
Well, sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. This is way back in the day. This is kind of show you how old I am. When the Pop Disaster Tour, which was that show I told you about with Blink, Green Day, Jimmy Eat World, and Saves the Day.
Yeah, but same genre. Like that's kind of where I'm at. Like,
if you're talking about, like, mishmashing genres, yeah, that very rarely does well outside of festivals,
like
which is funny,
yeah.
Because they Blink-182 didn't announce. Okay, all right, I'm right here. Blink-182 didn't announce a tour date for the Lil Wayne tour for Chicago. But we were all like, well, that's because they're going to be playing Riot Fest in Chicago, so they don't need to announce a tour date. But then we were all wondering, like, fuck, does that mean Lil Wayne's going to be at Riot Fest this year? And thankfully, they spared us that indignity. there's going to be no Lil Wayne at Riot Fest.
I don't hate Lil Wayne. I don't like Lil Wayne, but I don't hate
I
Lil
don't
Wayne.
like him. I don't hate him either, but he's not someone like... I love Blink-182. They're one of my all-time favorite bands, and I will go to see them in concert every chance I get. But had they not been playing at Riot Fest, to which I already had tickets for, I don't think I would have gone to this tour. I think the strength of their single is weak at best. I think that they're falling back on the Enema of the State anniversary tour.
Jesus.
Because what?
Okay, so I just went out of my way to look at a venue that I know would have a lot more sales in it. I went out of my way to look at Dallas.
For the Blink tour?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's more expensive.
How much more expensive?
For official platinum seats, it's $200.
$200?
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy. To see Blink-182 and Lil Wayne?
Like, we got to go see Taylor Swift, Charlie XCX, and Camila Cabello for $225, and that was on the floor at a stadium. Like, come on.
That's nuts, Richard, that they're charging $200 for a Blink-182 Lil Wayne show. Like, I cannot, I'm sorry, like, I love that band, but I cannot in good reason justify any of the decisions they've been making lately. It's been questionable. Like, they started teasing, and the reason why I even wanted to bring up Blink-182 in the first place is all over on Instagram, over on Matt, Mark, and the official Blink-182 page. They've been teasing that they're releasing a new single this week.
Oh, God.
They're releasing a new single. Now, this one is officially being featured on the forthcoming album, which is really strange because Blame It On My Youth, there's nowhere on the internet does it say that it's being featured on the upcoming album. They're just saying the new Blink-182 single. But this new one that's dropping, I think it's dropping on Friday, is being labeled as being the first single of the new album. So that's weird. But they're calling it the Generation Divide. And if you look at is the name of the song, Generational Divide, which is an interesting song title. And if you look on their Instagram pages, their posts, oh, God, you would think a kid would be happy to eat mac and cheese. Not my daughter. Oh, my God, it's all over your face.
What kind of mac and cheese is it? Is it the...
Auntie Anne's mac and cheese.
Well, it's because it's Auntie Anne. People actually eat Auntie Anne's? What?
We're trying to eat healthy in this house.
Oh, that's why. That's why I would throw a fit, too. Not going to lie.
So... if you look on their Instagram, there's like pictures of the set that they're using to film the music video for the new single, and it's all like it's this like little closet room with Mark, Matt, and Tom, and it's nothing, and it's wallpapered with like old school punk show flyers, like festival shows and shit.
Right.
So it's like I'm watching this, and I'm like, on one hand, I'm like excited. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe this will actually be a punk song. But then I backtracked a little bit. I'm like, this is only in response to how awful Blame It On My Youth is. Because if Blame It On My Youth came out and was like a good song and everyone loved it, we'd get an album of sounding like that. But I guarantee you that they're putting this single out so quick after Blame It On My Youth came out as a response to like, listen, we know you guys didn't like the poppiness of the last song, but here comes this new song. It's going to sound like a punk song, and you guys are going to love it. It's going to be old school Blink-182 sounding. Like, everything they're doing is reactionary, it feels like. More than any other album, more than anything that the band has ever done, it feels like everything that they're doing in gearing up for this tour and for this new album is in reaction to the way the world is perceiving it.
Well, I'm going to say something that's probably unpopular, and I'm fine with it.
Say it again?
I'm going to say something that's unpopular, and I'm fine with it.
Okay.
Maybe it's time for Blink-182 to hang up the guitars.
You know, you're not entirely wrong. Like, one more album. This new album coming out will make or break whether or not they do anything else, I think. Because California came out, like, their not self-titled album. The Neighborhoods, which came out in 2011, was the last album they recorded with Tom. It was a good album, but it was really not very Blink-182 sounding. And everyone was like, okay, they either got to hang it up or they got to do something different. And it turns out Tom left the band for the second time. But Mark was like, no, we're not done. We're still Blink-182. We're going to make music. They hired Matt Skiba, who everyone knows from Alkaline Trio. And then in 2016, they put out California, which is a very back to basics, this is what Blink-182 typically sounds like album. And it was good. It didn't reinvent the wheel. It didn't bring us anything new. It did what it was supposed to do. Make a Blink-182 album sound like what people think a Blink-182 album should sound like, a pop punk record. That's what they are. They're a pop punk band. And then everything that has been coming out about this new cycle of what they're doing is just, it's not that great, and it's very nerve-wracking, and I want the pop punk. I want to hear the rock show. I want to hear all the small things. I want to hear fucking feeling this. I want to hear the energetic, catchy songs that give me energy and, make me want to get up and dance or go see a show or pick up my guitar. I don't want to hear fucking Blame It On My Youth, which was fucking... It just sounds like a computer wrote that song. It doesn't even sound like a real song to me. So I think everything is going to be reactionary. I think everything is reactionary to what's been going on with them. I think I agree with you. I think it might be time for them to stop and maybe just do other things.
That hurts me to say, because I mean,
it hurts me to say that about one of my favorite bands of all time. But depending on how this album, now if this album comes out and blows everyone's socks off, then it's different. But they've done nothing to make us think that that's going to be the case. Like everything has been, like I said, reactionary. Everything has been kind of like, it just seems like they don't have any confidence in this new album that they're putting out.
Oh my God. I gotta tell you something.
Okay.
So I'm on Facebook real quick. Right?
Okay.
I just got an ad for Pressure Luck.
What?
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. Facebook is spying on us.
Oh yeah, no, it is.
But that's my 2 cents about Blink-182. Like it sucks that they're going this direction. But I honestly, if you were to ask me my dream scenario, Matt would go back to being a full-time member of Alkaline Trio. Tom would come back to Blink-182. Angels and Airways would fuck off and die somewhere. And
their shows are selling out everywhere, though.
That's the other one thing I wanted to hit on before we kind of call it quits on the Blink-182 stuff. How fucked up is it that Angels and Airwaves is literally selling out every show on their tour, and Blink-182 can't even get 50% of their tickets sold on any of their tour dates? And in fact, the only tour dates I guarantee you they are probably selling well are the ones where they're playing festivals, and it's not even going to be because of them. It's going to be because of everyone else on the bill.
Yeah, I was actually looking at the Forum. They're going to play the Forum in Los Angeles, which is one of the more famous arenas. That's really one of the only few arenas they're doing. Mm-hmm. And even it's not even close.
It's just sad because it feels like they were once on top of the world, and now they can't even halfway sell out a show. So I don't know. It sucks, but there's always the back catalog. And no matter what questionable this, and this goes for any musician these days, no matter if it's Weezer's another one people are ragging on a lot lately. Say what you will about any musician. Whatever decision they're making nowadays does not detract from the music that came before it. Enema of the State is always going to be a classic record. Take Off Your Pants and Jacket is always going to be a classic record. Whatever they do now might suck now, but it doesn't tarnish what came before it.
It's a rough week for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it sucks, but what are you going to do? I always got Letterkenny.
I was going to say, you could at least go, you know what, check out the new Taylor Swift album, or Taylor Swift video. You'll be fine. All right. So there's one thing that needs to be discussed before we go. We got a little bit of nerd news. I don't know how real this is. So again, take it with a grain of salt. It has not been reported by the Hollywood Reporter yet, but
our gold standard for news.
Yeah,
excellence.
no, it's pretty much it. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, I was running a bath.
No, because you shit your pants earlier.
Right now.
No, there you go.
I shit my pants so hard that it dribbled down my leg.
There's gonna be a new head of Warner movie division. They're bringing in a studio to revamp some of Warner Brothers studio movies.
Ooh, I think I might have heard this, but please do go on.
They're bringing in J.J. Abrams, and it's going to be a 5-year, $500 million deal.
Wait. So I didn't hear this. I thought I heard something else, but so J.J. Abrams is going to run the DCEU now?
Possibly not just the DCU, but like television and
Just the
yeah,
okay.
like produce new movies and
Interesting.
stuff for Warner. Yeah, which means that we're gonna get some DCU content from J.J. Abrams. Like that's gonna be if he does it. Like,
Can you imagine a J.J. Abrams version of Batman?
I don't know what I want at this point.
The J.J. Abrams version of Batman starring Robert Pattinson. What a fucking time to be alive.
Which I mean, we're not probably like he's the rumor is that as soon as Star Wars is done, he's stopped putting his name on the line, and I'm thinking that's great because we know we're getting 2 Star Wars franchises, one from the Game of Thrones people, another from Rian Johnson. Okay, so you don't need J.J. Abrams. I don't know at this point. J.J. Abrams did so well with Star Trek. I don't think Star Wars was his wheelhouse as much as Star Trek was, but
he's doing much better with Star Wars than he did with Star Trek.
I still 100% to this day believe, man, there's still part of me that thinks it should have been Whedon.
Whedon doing Star Trek or Star Wars?
Star Wars.
You see, I think Whedon is more Star Trek than Star Wars.
Like, I don't know. Like, it's kind of one of those things now where I'm like, I'm at that point where I don't know if anyone should touch Star Wars. I think we should just let Star Wars be Star Wars.
I think once The Rise of the Skywalker comes out and kicks ass like we all know it's going to, I think we should just be, like you said, kind of like what I was saying about Marvel a couple episodes back. Just give us like a gap year or two. Just no Star Wars movies at all.
Please let it rest. It's like a steak when you take it out of the like after you're done cooking it. You're supposed to let it rest for a few minutes. Do that. Do that with all of these properties. Let them all rest.
Yeah, just let it simmer in the minds of the audience for a little bit.
I am at that point. But yeah, I saw that and went, I don't know how well that's going to do, but that is a rumor.
Well, we'll see what he does.
There is that's one of the major rumors that's out there right now. I mean, Comic-Con. Go ahead.
I heard a little rumor, and it seems even more tenuous than that one. And maybe I even discussed it already on the show. I'm not sure. It's been kind of a long week. I heard that they're having James Gunn be like the Kevin Feige version of the DCEU.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Like we
talked about that last week. Yeah, no,
we did.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't know if that's going to work either, but we'll find out. DC, look, the DC streaming service is probably dead. I mean,
it is dead. What are you talking about? They canceled Swamp Thing after one episode.
I mean, at this point, the DC streaming universe needs to go on life support. Like, it's been a rough couple of times. It's not a good time to be a DC person.
No, it really is not a good time to be a DC person at all.
So I don't know if I have anything else.
No, I think that's pretty much all the stuff. I mean, it felt like a slow news week.
It is Comic-Con's coming up, so that kind of.
Oh yeah, it's going to be the calm before the storm for a little bit.
Yeah, we're going to have a month where nothing happens. And then Comic-Con will come out and blow. I mean, there's going to be huge news from Comic-Con. There always is going to be huge news from Comic-Con.
Yeah, but there's going to be no Marvel or DC presence this year.
or Star Wars, or like, it's probably there'll be a few good trailers. There'll be a few huge announcements, but nothing will ever.
I feel like E3 is probably going to be bigger than fucking Comic-Con.
Well, I told you, I just believe all these companies are going to start doing their own thing anyway, so fuck everything. Like, fuck these conventions. You can have fans come to you. Like, fuck it. Like, Disney, Star Wars, they're having another Star Wars celebration in California the last weekend of August.
Yeah, because it was so successful this year in Chicago.
Well, I mean, they're going to probably, do the second trailer there? Because that's
no. The next Star Wars celebration isn't until next year.
Nope, there's one in California this year.
Really?
Yeah, they announced the second Star Wars celebration in California in the late August.
I did not know that. I thought it was going to be next year.
Nope, and that's why I went. Yeah, there's going to be something announced at that because they wouldn't do this unless they had something to announce.
Unless it's just the next trailer for.
Yeah, which I would see that, and then the first trailers for all the Disney Plus shows.
Well, they wouldn't be like they already did the trailer for The Mandalorian at the celebration this year.
Right, but there's still 2 more.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And Disney
there's
Plus
the Obi-Wan. Maybe they're going to do the Obi-Wan show.
And Disney Plus launches in November.
So
just to let everyone know that. I'm going to have to watch so many damn Disney movies. Holy shit.
Dude, I cannot wait for Disney Plus to finally launch.
If Disney does it right, that's going to be the best streaming service of them all.
Yeah. I mean, the only one that will even come close to approaching it is Netflix.
I don't think Netflix is going to be around by this time in 3 years. And I know a lot of people...
I disagree.
Like,
I think there's enough original content on Netflix that it will sustain itself for a while longer. I don't think Netflix is going to... I think this time in 3 years is probably when they'll stop like streaming the third-party content. It'll go like exclusively their own stuff, maybe.
No,
I
don't know. I think
Netflix...
I just feel it, man. They're in debt so bad right now. I feel it.
Tomato.
But next week, I will plan out a show. Well, I didn't expect this. That was kind of what I was like, oh, wait, what? What's happened?
Well, sometimes it's fun to just be like, hey, you want to do a show? Cool, let's do a show.
So I want to let everyone know there is going to be an episode of Center Crap. We are doing Spice World this week.
Yes, I had some personal issues that I had to take care of last week that kind of popped up last minute, so I apologize for that, but we are back on track, and we will get that to you right away.
We didn't answer one question the fans sent us. I think we need to do that.
Okay, what's up?
YouTube channels that we...
Ooh, that's a good one. All right, I got a couple. I'll start.
All right, shoot.
I got 3 that I'm really like hardcore like watching right now. Like there's this one called Did You Know Gaming?
Oh yeah, I've seen that one. I don't think I've watched a lot of videos from them, but I know who they are.
They're very smart dudes, and it's not like a typical gaming channel. They take like a game or a game franchise that's popular and they kind of deep dive into the history of it. So it's like watching like a 20-minute documentary on how your favorite game or gaming franchise came to fruition. It's kind of cool. Obviously I'm hardcore on Good Mythical Morning right now. Like hardcore.
That's a great channel.
Like when we get my stepson on the weekends, and when he's here, that's pretty much all we watch. Either that or My 600-Pound Life. So there's that. And then I'm really, really, really into this. It's another gaming channel. I'm really into the gaming channels lately. There's another one I'm into called The Completionist.
Oh, I've seen again, yeah.
He's kind of a little more typical gamer where you just kind of like he reviews games, but he does them a little differently. Whereas instead of just doing a straight review, and it's in the title, he completes them, meaning like he doesn't just go from like the beginning to the end and like beats the game and that's it. Like he goes for all the trophies, all the unlocks, and all the extra stuff.
Shit.
And he did a video on Super Mario Odyssey, and then right before that, he did a video for Breath of the Wild, and you know how big those fucking games are.
Yeah.
And his videos typically are like 15 to 20 minutes, but his Breath of the Wild video was like almost 40 minutes long because it's such a large game. But he just like takes it from completion. Like he does like a little mini like review of the game up front. He does a little history on the game, and then the bulk of the video is just like kind of him talking about what it takes to unlock all the stuff, get all the achievements, trophies, whatever you want to call them. It's a fun little channel. It's something that me and the stepson actually bond over a lot. So,
all right,
those are my kind of 3 big ones right now.
All right. Besides Good Mythical Morning, because I've talked about that ad nauseum. Because that's a fun channel. I love Good Mythical.
It is. It's just a fun fucking channel.
Defunct Land. Okay, so I don't know how I stumbled upon this. Again, I go down these YouTube rabbit holes.
Those are the best ways to discover some of these shows.
It's a series where a dude talks about things that failed in theme parks.
Okay, that's random.
Yeah, no, I have fallen in love with it. Like, he talks about things that have failed at Disney, things that have failed at Six Flags, things that have failed at like he even he has an episode of his show where he talks about the theme park that I grew up closest to. And it blew,
what's it called?
Worlds of Fun. And it
Worlds of Fun?
blew my fucking mind. I was like, wow, I can't believe this is an episode. So that I've gotten into that. Like, I've been watching that 100% religiously. Like, and each video is 20 to 30 minutes. So there's one where
it's like a full episode of a show.
Yeah, there was one where Disney was going to build like an Americana park outside DC. That is probably the best episode, in my opinion.
And Worlds of Fun, it's called.
Yeah, Defunct Land is the name of the channel, but Worlds of Fun is the theme park where I was close to where I grew up. So,
I'll have to watch it later.
I've gotten into that one. I'm trying to think. I've gotten into a lot of really random shit lately on the YouTube.
I've gotten into I'm also really into right now watching people visit abandoned places.
Oh, the best one of those is someone who visits the abandoned set of Hey Dude. Do you remember
what?
Do you remember the show Hey Dude?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they actually visit the abandoned set of the show, which is out on a dude ranch in New Mexico.
Really?
Or Arizona, yeah. The other one, okay, so the Wolf Pit. I don't know how to explain this, but this dude just takes frozen foods and cooks them and then talks about how shitty they are. Fucking hysterical. Like, there are times where he goes, this wasn't half bad, but he'll get frozen food from the Dollar Tree and cook it. Like, he actually cooked one of the steaks that the Dollar Tree sells. Oh, it cracks my shit up. Like, the dude's super funny and super Southern. Like, you can tell he's from Georgia. Like, it is so, but the channel itself, pretty funny.
I also there's this one show, and I'm sure you've heard of, it's called Binging with Babish.
Yes.
Have you heard of this?
Yes.
That's a great one because he takes famous fictional foods and pop culture and TV shows and movies, and he makes them and actually makes them, and it's pretty cool to watch some of this shit come to life.
Didn't they do that in an episode of GMM as well? Yeah.
Yeah, they've done a few episodes. I know they did one. They
did one with
recently. Did they?
Yeah.
Oh, that I didn't know.
There is one other one I'm going to talk about because it's really funny.
What's that?
It is called The Nobodies.
The Nobodies.
Yeah. They watch. They do a regular podcast on there, and it's pretty fun. But their main thing is on there is they watch wrestling and review it.
Okay.
And it's like, oh, that sounds like fun, but they're drag queens, and it's so funny. God dang.
The Nobodies.
The Nobodies. It's so funny. Oh my god.
I'll have to scope that one out too.
Yeah, so I'm big on YouTube right now. I went, okay, I'm watching YouTube more than actual television lately, and I'm thinking to myself, all right, but
I have been spending a lot of time on YouTube as well. There's just a lot of good content on there.
I'm not going to lie. I have really went down a rabbit hole on watching Jeffree Star videos lately. I don't know what that means, but hey.
Yeah, that we might have to have a talk about that off air.
I've enjoyed his videos. I'm like, whatever.
I've also I recently rediscovered my love for the first person. Oh God, that Russian guy that shoots all the super huge guns and blows shit up.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah,
FPS Russia, that's his name. It's dumb because all he does is blow shit up, but it's just sometimes it's fun to watch shit blow up. I too have gone down a lot of rabbit holes and been spending an inordinate amount of time on YouTube. There's just some quality content.
So I think that's going to wrap this up. So if you want to check out some of the YouTube channels we enjoy, July, right? I did tease a little bit, right?
You did. You did. It was a very quick tease, and I don't think a lot of people paid attention to it. But yes, you did.
So here's what's coming. Here's a little. I'll give you a nugget.
Okay.
I might give you 2 nuggets. All white meat, of course, because fuck that. Number 1 is, yes, there's going to be a new layout to the website.
Okay, that's kind of a given, but cool. I'm excited.
There's a reason for this. 1, because I'm building a website for a coffee shop, and that website looks better than mine, and I can't fucking do that. So, So I'm like, I cannot make this work. So here's what I'm going to do. We're going to rebuild the entire layout of the magazine. Cool. It's going to look awesome. I have seen it. It is pretty. Number 2,
Okay.
and I'm only going to say this in the context of this.
Okay.
What I'm about to tell you is not There you go. That's it. That's the announcement.
Here, play with a pair of scissors. Here you go.
What I'm about to tell you for the first time ever is not a podcast.
Okay.
July 2019. Probably even more towards August, honestly. But this is part of the things you might, everything changes kind of thing.
Okay.
Prepare yourself for the random show.
The random show.
Yep.
Okay, it's cryptic. I mean, kind of. Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
But not a podcast.
Curiouser and curiouser.
It's going to be a show that you can only see live if you live in my area.
You have to live in Latveria in order to be able to witness this show.
Yeah, it's going to only stream on pay-per-view in Antarctica. That's it.
Whew, man, that'll determine the fan base.
All 3 people always, I mean, unless that is where all 3 fans live. So, and if that's the case, I'm a marketing fucking genius.
You and my friend are the Mark Zuckerberg of
Oh God, don't say that.
bullshit.
No. Oh, did you see the news? God, did you see the news story that Facebook is releasing their own currency?
Yeah, and I promptly farted and shat my pants, so that pretty much tells you how well that's going to go over.
So if you try to send me Facebook Libra, I will punch you.
I'll punch you in the Libra.
Because that's what it's called, Facebook Libra.
So,
That's gonna wrap up this edition of Live. Let's
end it there.
Next week, back to normality. Unless we just randomly be like, unless you text me and go like, "Hey, we're recording the show in 7 minutes." Okay.
Get your pants on.
I mean, I am running a fever while recording this, so that's fun.
I think it adds to the overall delirium that people will probably take away from this week's episode.
You know, it's sad. I'll be done with this episode. I'll talk to you for 2 minutes after, and I will not remember a damn thing from this episode. I'll just be trying to write the notes, going, "Well, shit happened."
And that's what that should be the title of the show. Shit happens.
Oh my God.
All right. Well, I mean, even though it's been random, it's been fun. I mean, I always love doing live, and I, apologize for the extra commentary from the little one in the background.
She was fine. She's a great co-host. She was better than my first one. And on that note, guys, next week on Live, back to normality. Don't forget to check out all of our other shows: Striking a Chord, Cinecrap, SNS, which took a hiatus this week because of Father's Day and I was sick, and then whatever other podcasts there are. So the Brody and Richard Show will be back, not this week, but next week, hopefully.
Mm-hmm. Where we talk about 90s sitcoms and comedy.
Yeah, it's the 90s comedy episode, which tells me I'm just going to talk about, pretty much for the entire show, I'm going to talk about how much I loved Home Improvement. No, I'm not. I was thinking of another show and Home Improvement came out. It was Family Matters. God. I just saw Tim Allen's...
Family Matters.
For all of a sudden, it was like, oh no, I'm going to say Family Matters. And then I just saw Tim Allen's face pop in front of me. And I'm like, oh shit, no, I don't want that.
It's going to be the Family Matters versus Family Ties episode.
Oh God. You know the best 90s sitcom ever?
What's that?
Ponder on that. That'll be one of our questions.
Done.
All right, so until next week, everybody, we're going to wrap up the show like we do every other episode. Don't forget to get our Pride t-shirts on our store shop, TBK. And until next time, Torgo, you know what to do, sir. Take us home tonight.
Home tonight.
You cannot stay. The master would not approve.